It is fire of correction. The fire that burns sickness out of flesh. The fire that turns curses back on those who earn them. The fire that protects the innocent and punishes the cruel. She heals with the same hands she destroys with, but justice is not gentle. When she mounts a body, her voice becomes sharp, raw, unfiltered. She swears, she laughs, she tells the truth without apology. Those who approach her with respect receive protection, healing, and strength. Those who mock her, exploit the dead, or harm the powerless learn quickly why the cemetery is not a place of weakness. Maman Brigette stands between worlds. Feet planted among bones, head crowned with fire, she is proof that death does not belong to fear, that spirits remember, that injustice does not escape consequence. And when the living forget, when the powerful believe they are untouched, when crimes are buried with bodies, Maman Brigette walks the grave at night, igniting candles that cannot be blown out, because the dead are never silent, and she is always listening. Maman, the one who does not arrive. The world still moves. Caravans cross the dust-choked roads. Merchants count their goods. Children run between shadows that have not yet learned to linger. Men sharpen blades and speak of tomorrow as if it's owed to them. Life assumes continuation. That assumption is why Maman is never noticed first. Her shrine stands where motion slows, near graves, near the sea where waves erase their own footprints, near the edge of settlements where names begin to thin. It is not grand, it does not announce itself, it does not arrive. People come to Maman only when they have already begun to suspect that time is no longer stretching forward the way it once had. A traveler arrives. He is not desperate, not yet. He believes there is still margin, that something can be delayed, negotiated, rearranged. He brings offerings, not to bargain, but because the habit insists that all powers must respond. He kneels. Nothing happened. No wind shifts. No voice answers. No sign breaks the air. That is not neglect. That is Maman. Among the peoples of pre-Islamic Arabia, Maman was not feared as a destroyer. She was honored as the one who measured. She does not strike. She does not pursue. She does not arrive suddenly in the night. She assigns. Every life is given a portion, a length, a span, a weight of days. Once given, it is not revised. Maman does not revoke what has been counted. The traveler waits longer than he intended to. He listens for something, anything that might suggest change, but the shrine remains still. And he begins to understand. Maman is not silenced because she has not heard him. Maman is not silent because she has not heard him. She is silent because the question has already been answered. There is no realization of doom, no terror, only clarity. Maman was present at his beginning, not watching and not judging, simply counting. The length of his breath was measured before he took his first. The number of times his name would be spoken was already known. The moment he would stand here, waiting, was never in doubt. She does not observe the end of lives. She witnesses the moment they are allocated. So the traveler lowers his head. He does not ask for more time. He does not plead. There is nothing left to say, because Maman is not cruel. Cruelty implies choice. She is not merciful either. Mercy implies flexibility. She is final because she is precise. Maman does not come for the living. She does not rise when death is near. She does not cross thresholds or lift veils. She has always been there. When the traveler leaves the shrine, the world continues as before. The caravans still move, the markets still hum, and the children still run. Nothing has changed, except the traveler now understands that continuation is not promise, it is allowance, and allowance is finite. Maman remains unmoving, unarguing, unimpressed by fear or hope. She does not need to appear in the end, but she was present at the beginning. Mara, the Lord of Obstruction. Whenever a human attempts to transform, there is an obstruction that appears before them. Before they can actually reach clarity, this obstruction shows its face. And this obstruction had a name: Mara. He was not born of flame, he was born of hesitation. Whenever a being reached beyond comfort, whenever someone questioned the script of their life, whenever consciousness trembled at the edge of expansion, Mara stirred. He was not hatred, he was gravity. Mara ruled no visible kingdom, no throne carved in stone, no armies marching through cities. His domain was subtle. He ruled inertia. He ruled habit. He ruled the gentle, suffocating comfort of repetition. Under his influence, beings rose, worked, desired, aged, died, and returned again. He did not need chains. Craving was chain enough. He did not need prisons. Identity was prison enough. And so, as long as beings clung to their desire, fear, and self-image, Mara's sovereignty remained unchallenged. For ages uncounted, no one truly threatened him. Many prayed, many performed rituals, many worshiped gods, but few sought to wake up from the dream entirely, until one did. The vow beneath the tree. In the forest of North India, a prince turned wanderer sat beneath a fig tree. His name was Siddhartha Gautama. He had tasted luxury. He had tasted starvation. He had walked both extremes and found neither to be sufficient. Now he made a vow: I will not rise from the seat until I see reality as it is. The earth heard him. The wind paused. The unseen realm shifted. And in his shadowed dominion, Mara felt something rupture, a crack in the foundation of sleep. If one being pierced illusion completely, others would follow. If others followed, craving would weaken. If craving weakened, Mara's rule would thin, and this could not be allowed. The silk strategy. Mara did not begin with violence. Violence is crude. He began with warmth. The night air softened. The ache in Siddhartha's body eased. Memories bloomed like golden flowers. Palace corridors, perfumed chambers, music and moonlight, his beautiful wife's face, his children's small hands. Not lust, not greed, relief. Mara's daughters appeared, embodiments of longing and beauty. They circled him like living poetry. You have done enough. You have suffered enough. Awaken tomorrow. Comfort is the most elegant trap, because it does not look like defeat. It looks like mercy. But Siddhartha watched. He saw desire rise. He saw it pass, like a cloud dissolving in open sky. The daughter's beauty flickered. Their forms thinned. The silk net fell away, and Mara's gaze sharpened. The iron storm. If comfort failed, fear would rise. The sky blackened. Thunder split the heavens. From the earth surged Mara's enemies, beings of nightmare, tusked war elephants, archers whose arrows carried doubt and despair. Lightning struck the ground before the Bodhi tree. The forest roared in terror. Mara towered over chaos and declared, "This seat belongs to me." He claimed dominion over birth and death, over sorrow and longing, over the endless cycle of becoming. "Who are you," he thundered, "to step beyond my law?" Arrows flew toward Siddhartha, and as they neared him, they transformed into lotus petals. Spears became beams of light. The storm shattered against stillness. Fear cannot conquer a mind that does not cling to survival. Mara's armies dissolved into smoke. The sky cleared, silence returned. Only one weapon remained: the blade of doubt. Mara approached alone. No daughters this time, no army. Only him and only his presence. Calm, vast, patient. He stood before Siddhartha and asked the question that breaks empire. Who will testify that you deserve awakening? It was not shouted, it was whispered. Legitimacy, authority, validation. You sit here claiming freedom beyond gods and kings, but who bears witness to your right? The cosmos stilled, because doubt is sharper than any spear. Comfort tempts the body, fear shakes the nerves, but doubt pierces identity. If Siddhartha sought permission from the heavens, if he looked upward for approval, Mara would win. Because Mara thrives whenever awakening depends on external validation. Siddhartha did not look to the sky. He did not summon deities. He did not argue. He reached down and touched the earth. The earth remembers. His fingers pressed into the soil, simple, unadorned, and the earth answered. It trembled, not in destruction, but in recognition. The ground bore witness to lifetimes of compassion, effort, discipline, and intention. Rivers remembered. Mountains remembered. The soil remembered. No authority beyond reality itself was needed. The earth itself testified. Mara staggered, for obstruction cannot stand where direct knowledge exists. Doubt cannot survive contact with clarity. Mara did not explode. He did not burn. He simply faded, like mist dissolving into morning light. The secret truth of Mara. There is a deeper myth. Mara was never destroyed. He cannot be destroyed because he is not an enemy. He is simply a threshold. He arises when consciousness approaches breakthrough. When someone tries to end addiction, Mara appears. When someone leaves a false life, Mara appears. When someone chooses truth over comfort, Mara appears. First with warmth, then with fear, then finally with the whisper. Who do you think you are? He is obstruction. He is not punishment. He is simply there to test. For awakening that can't withstand comfort, fear, and doubt is not awakening at all. Mara in every age. In ancient forests, he used daughters and storms. In modern cities, he uses distractions. Endless noise, endless scrolling, endless comparison. Comfort as sedation. Identity as armor. He does not need armies. He has convenience. He possesses control of algorithms. He has doubt disguised as humility. And yet, the pattern never changes. Some will rise before dawn. Some will accept the whisper, but some will remain seated. Some will refuse comfort. Some will endure the fear. Some will meet doubt without asking permission. And when they do, Mara fades again. The dawn. As the first light touched the horizon, Siddhartha opened his eyes. Not as a prince anymore, not as an ascetic, but as Buddha, the truly awakened one. The Bodhi tree stood silent witness. The earth would hold the memory, and somewhere in the edge of perception, Mara watched. Not furious, not even broken, but patient, because he knows most beings will not endure the final whisper. Most will rise before sunrise. Most will choose comfort, but every so often, someone does not move. And on that night, obstruction almost ruled forever, but clarity held. And in that moment, the world itself changed. The trickster who slowed the sun. In the time before time was measured, before hours were named, before the days were counted, the sun raced across the sky. It rose too quickly, it fell too soon, and the people suffered for it. There was never enough daylight. Crops withered before they could grow. Clothes could not be finished. Fishing nets remained half woven. Children went hungry, not from lack of effort, but from lack of time. Each day slipped away like water through fingers, and so the people cried out. They spoke to the winds, they spoke to the land, they spoke to the sea, and one among them listened. His name was Maui, born between worlds, neither fully God nor fully man. Maui was known as a trickster, a breaker of rules, a challenger of what was said to be impossible. Where others bowed to the natural order, Maui questioned it. When he first heard of the people suffering, he did not pray for mercy, he chose defiance. If the sun is a problem, Maui said, then the sun must be confronted. The elders warned him, no one challenges the sun, no one binds the sky, no one survives such arrogance. Maui only smiled. He traveled deep into the forest, where ancient knowledge still sleeps in the roots and the stone. There he gathered strong fibers, flax, vines, sacred cords, and braided them together. No ordinary ropes, but ropes woven with chant, breath, and intention. Ropes meant to hold the god. When the cords were finished, Maui sharpened the bone-jaw weapon he carried, a relic of power, a symbol of his lineage. Then before dawn, while the world still whispered in the darkness, Maui climbed to the eastern edge of the earth. He hid where the sun first rises. The sun began to glow. Heat pressed against the horizon, and then the sun emerged, blazing, proud, unstoppable. As it climbed, Maui leapt from his hiding place. He cast the ropes. One wrapped around the sun's arms, another bound its body, another caught its blazing path across the sky. The sun roared, the light burned, the heat scorched the land, but the ropes held. The sun struggled, furious and unyielding, until Maui struck. Again and again. Not to destroy, but to teach. Listen, Maui said, his voice steady against the fire. You race too high. You leave the people in darkness. You steal their labor, their food, their lives. The sun resisted. It had never been challenged before, never been bound, never been told no. But even the sun must answer when the balance of the world is broken. At last, weakened and humble, the sun agreed. It would slow its journey. It would stretch the day. It would give the people time. Maui released the ropes. The sun rose again, but this time slowly. Day lingered. Shadows lengthened gently. Fields flourished. Work was finished. Children slept with full bellies. And time, for the first time, belonged to humanity. Maui did not stay to be praised. Tricksters never do. He vanished into story, into chant, into memory. But every long day, every lingering sunset, every moment where the light holds just a little longer, that is Maui. Not the one who feared the gods, but the one who reminded them that humanity too has needs, and sometimes even the sun must be told to slow down.
In classical mythology, Memnon, the king of Ethiopia, is consistently described and depicted as black. Ancient Greek vase paintings frequently portrayed him with black skin. Roman authors like Virgil and Ovid explicitly referred to it as dark or black-skinned. In Greek mythology, Memnon was a king of Ethiopia and the son of Tithonus and Hipparchus and Adariekl, the goddess of the dawn. During the Trojan War, he brought an army to aid the Trojans. Memnon is most famous for killing Antilochus, the son of Nestor. Seeking revenge for his fallen companion, Achilles challenged Memnon to single combat. Although warned that his own death would soon follow Memnon's, Achilles accepted the challenge. In the duel, Achilles slew Memnon by driving a spear through his chest. The death of Memnon mirrors the earlier death of Hector, another defender of Troy whom Achilles killed to avenge the death of Patroclus. After Memnon's death, Zeus was moved by the grief of Eos and granted her son immortality. The story of Memnon's final battle was told in the lost epic Aethiopis, believed to have been composed during the 7th century BC. His death was later described by Quintus of Smyrna in the Post-America and by Philostratus in the Imagines. Roman-era writer Dictys Cretensis records that Memnon arrived at Troy with a vast army of Indians and Ethiopians, numbering in the thousands and equipped with many different kinds of weapons. According to the account, the army exceeded even Priam's greatest hopes. Strabo preserves a tradition attributed to Simonides that Memnon was buried near Paltus in Syria. On the banks of the river Badas, Memnon in ancient art Memnon appears frequently in surviving Greek art. Vase paintings often depict him as a dark-skinned warrior, archer, or king. Modern catalogs have identified more than 100 surviving references to Memnon in ancient artistic and literary sources. One notable image depicts a black archer accompanied by 2 Amazons. Scholars have debated whether the figure represents Memnon himself or is an attendant associated with Memnon in the Post-America. According to Quintus of Smyrna, Memnon arrived at Troy shortly after a debate among Polydamas, Helen, and Priam concerning whether the Ethiopian king would come to the city's aid. His army was described as so large that it could not be counted. Upon arriving, Memnon was honored with a great banquet hosted by Priam. During the feast, the 2 leaders exchanged stories of their past victories. Priam declared that Memnon would become Troy's savior, but Memnon remained humble and insisted that true worth should be proven in battle rather than through boasts. Before the next day's fighting, Zeus commanded the Olympian gods not to interfere in the conflict because of the importance of Memnon's fate. In battle, Memnon killed Antilochus after Antilochus had slain Memnon's companion Aesop. Nestor attempted to challenge Memnon despite his age, but Memnon refused, believing it dishonorable to fight an elderly warrior. His respect for Nestor reflects the heroic values often associated with Achilles himself. Nestor then begged Achilles to avenge his son. Both warriors entered battle wearing divine armor crafted by Hephaestus, creating another parallel between them. Memnon as an ally of Troy and Virgil. Memnon leads eastern armies from Ethiopia in support of Troy. Virgil refers to the arms of Black Memnon, emphasizing both his orcs and Lengeria. Like Achilles and other great Hestus, Memnon and great heroes, Memnon possessed armors where Sabaeus were crafted for him through the intervention of his mother Eos, or weighing of souls. To form between Achilles. Before the duel, a psychostasia, or weighing of souls, to determine which hero would die. Both warriors were granted extraordinary strength and endurance so that the entire battlefield could witness their clash. Eventually Achilles struck Memnon through the heart, causing the Ethiopian army to flee. According to later traditions, the gods transformed drops of Memnon's blood into a river. His loyal followers who remained behind to honor him were changed into birds known as the Memnonides, which continued to Zeus to restore her cleanse his tomb. Eos pleaded with Zeus to restore her son to life. Although Zeus did not resurrect Memnon, he granted her the ability to behold him briefly each dawn, as she opened the gates of heaven for the rising sun. John Malalas later wrote that Memnon was king of the Indians and arrived at Troy with a fleet and great wealth, eventually assuming command over the allied forces before being killed by Achilles. The Memnon Pietà, one of the most famous artistic depictions of Memnon, shows Eos holding the body of her fallen son. This image, often called the Memnon Pietà, survives on an Attic red figure cup dated to approximately 490–480 BC. The scene portrays Eos lifting Memnon's lifeless body while mourning his death. The image emphasizes both maternal grief and heroic sacrifice. Memnon and the Ethiopians. Ancient Greek and Roman writers consistently associated Memnon with the Ethiopian. Classical definitions describe the Ethiopians as dark-skinned peoples, living far to the south. Diodorus Siculus specifically identifies Memnon as king of the Ethiopians who bordered Egypt. Although the earliest version of Memnon's story survives only in fragment, later Greek and Roman authors consistently portray him as a great Ethiopian ruler and warrior. Philostratus describes artistic representations of Memnon as a powerful black warrior whose physical strength rivaled that of Achilles. He notes that Memnon's skin was black, yet carried a reddish hue. Not all ancient traditions agreed on his origins. The Suda, a Byzantine encyclopedia, states that while Memnon commanded Ethiopian forces at Troy, he himself ruled from Susa in Asia. Parentage and origins. According to Greek myth, Memnon was the son of Eos and Tithonus. Tithonus had been carried away from Troy by Eos and taken to the far edges of the world near Oceanus. Hesiod describes Memnon as the bronze-armored king of the Ethiopians. Some traditions state that Memnon was raised by the Hess on the shores of Oceanus. Modern scholars note that ancient writers sometimes associated Memnon with both Africa and Asia, because ancient geographical concepts of Ethiopia and India were often fluid. Memnon developed a dual identity in classical literature. Roman writers, however, consistently described him as black-skinned. Following his death, Eos mourned deeply. Some traditions state that she darkened the light of the sun and called upon night to conceal her recovery of her son's body. With the aid of Hypnos and Thanatos, Memnon's remains were carried back to Ethiopia. Eos then begged Zeus to make Memnon immortal, a request that Zeus granted. The Colossi of Memnon are two enormous stone statues of Pharaoh Amenhotep III located in Luxor, Egypt. Beginning in the 1st century AD, Greek and Roman visitors identified the statues with the legendary Memnon. This association may have arisen because one of the statues faced the sunrise and produced mysterious sounds at dawn. Ancient writers such as Pliny the Elder recorded reports that one statue emitted musical tones in the morning. Travelers journeyed great distances to hear the phenomenon. Pausanias described the statue and noted that many believed it represented Memnon, who was said to have marched from Ethiopia through Egypt and onward to Susa. After an earthquake in 27 BC damaged one of the statues, the sounds reportedly became even more pronounced. Roman Emperor Hadrian and Empress Sabina famously visited the site Sisti hoping to hear the statue's voice. Later repairs are said to have silenced the phenomenon permanently. Legacy Memnon stands among the greatest heroes of the Trojan War tradition. Though ultimately defeated by Achilles, he was remembered as a noble king, a mighty warrior, and a heroic defender of Troy. Ancient literature, art, and later historical traditions preserved his image as the dark-skinned king of Ethiopia, beloved son of Io, and one of the last great champions to challenge Achilles before the hero's own death.
The singing colossus of Memnon, when a black king spoke at dawn. There was once a statue in Egypt that spoke to the rising sun. Not in poetry, not in metaphor. It produced a voice, an eerie sound that emerged from stone as the morning light crossed the Nile. Travelers came from across the ancient world to hear it. Generals, governors, poets, and emperors stood beneath its enormous shadow, waiting for sunrise. Some heard a whistle. Some heard the snapping of lyre string. Others described the sound as metal being struck deep inside the earth. But those who believed in the old stories heard something else. They heard a son calling for his mother. They heard the voice of Memnon, the black king who fought Achilles and was mourned by the goddess of dawn. This is the story of how an Egyptian pharaoh's shattered monument became the living voice of an African hero. Part 1. The Giants of Amenhotep. More than 13 centuries before the Common Era, Pharaoh Amenhotep III ruled Kemet during one of its most prosperous ages. He did not present himself as a political ruler. Like other Nasuts, he stood between humanity and the divine order. His monuments were intended to preserve more than just his reputation. These were instruments of immortality. On the west bank of the Nile, opposite the living city of Thebes, Amenhotep constructed an enormous mortuary temple. Now, the east belonged to sunrise and life. The west belonged to sunset, death, and the kingdom beyond. At the entrance of this sacred complex, two giant seated images of Amenhotep were raised from quartz stone. Each stood approximately 60 feet tall. Their hands rested upon their knees. Their faces looked eastward, toward the Nile and the rising sun. Beside the pharaoh's legs appeared the women of his royal family, including his powerful royal wife, Queen Tahi. To anyone approaching the temple, the message was unmistakable. The king remained on his throne. Even death could not remove him. But time is another kind of ruler. Time weakened the temple. Stone was taken and reused, walls disappeared, courts collapsed. The greatest mortuary complex of its age slowly became a field of ruins. Yet the two-seated giants remain. They survived long for their original meaning to have become obscured, and for another king to claim parts of their bodies. Part 2. Memnon, King of Ethiopia. Long before Amenhotep's monument was built, Greek storytellers spoke of another magnificent African king. His name was Memnon. Memnon was king of Ethiopia, the distant land Greek tradition associated with the dark-skinned people living towards the edge of the known world. His father was the mortal king Tithonus. His mother was no mortal woman. She was Eos, the goddess of the dawn. Every morning, Eos opened the gates to heaven. Rosy light spread across the sky as she announced the coming of the sun. But behind the beauty of every dawn lived the sorrow of a mother who knew that divine blood could not completely protect her son from mortal fate. When the Trojan War entered its final and bloodiest days, Memnon came to defend Troy. He did not arrive as an assistant, a servant, or a wandering mercenary. He came as a king at the head of an army, wearing divine armor forged by Hephaestus. On the battlefield, Memnon proved himself to be one of the greatest warriors alive. He killed the beloved son of Nestor, but the victory brought him into direct contact with the greatest fighter in the Greek army, Achilles. The son of dawn now stood against the son of the sea. Memnon, child of Eos. Achilles, child of Thetis. Two warriors born from goddesses. Two mothers watching from the divine world. Two sons whose greatness could not save them from fate. The battle was so evenly matched that Zeus weighed their destinies upon his golden scales. Memnon's fate descended. Achilles struck the fatal blow. And when Memnon fell, Eos filled the morning sky with grief. Some traditions say her tears became the dew that appears at dawn. Others say she begged Zeus to grant her son immortality. Memnon's companions were transformed into birds that gathered above his tombs, fighting and mourning in his memory. Memnon died, but he did not disappear. His name crossed oceans, kingdoms, and generations. Eventually, it reached Kemet. Part 3. The earthquake that opened the stone. In 27 BCE, an earthquake struck the region around Thebes. The northern colossus was torn apart. Its upper body collapsed, and the deep fracture opened through the remaining stone. The statue survived, but it was no longer whole. Then after the destruction, something extraordinary began to happen. At dawn, the broken colossus produced a sound. Perhaps moisture collected inside the damaged stone during the cool night. Perhaps the first warmth of morning caused the rock to expand, forcing air through its fractures. That may explain how the sound was created. It does not explain what the sound meant to those who heard it. Greek and Roman visitors saw an ancient African giant facing the eastern horizon, then heard its voice when Eos appeared in the morning sky. To them, the figure could only be Memnon. The broken statue had become the dead king's body. The sunrise was the arrival of his mother. And the mysterious sound was a brief moment each morning when the murdered son answered her. Amenhotep had created the monument. The earthquake had opened its mouth, but mythology gave it a voice. Part 4. The Voice of the Dawn. News of the singing statue spread throughout the Roman world. Travelers journeyed to Thebes, hoping to hear the miracle for themselves. They waited in the darkness before sunrise. Then came the sound. Some visitors carved inscriptions into the monument, reading the date and announcing that Memnon had spoken to them. Hearing the voice became a sign of divine favor. The statue was treated almost like an oracle. If Memnon answered while you were present, perhaps the gods had acknowledged you. Even emperors came. When Emperor Hadrian visited Egypt in roughly 130, members of his imperial party approached the Colossus. Among them was a poet who commemorated the encounter in verse upon the monument itself. The ruined temple had become something it was never designed to be. It was no longer a simple place where Amenhotep III was remembered. It became a meeting place between ancient Kemet, Greece, and Rome, between engineering and accident, history and mythology, death and reconstruction. Every morning recreated the same sacred drama. Eos returned, Memnon answered, and for one fleeting moment, the barrier between the living and the dead appeared to break. Part 5. When Rome silenced the miracle. Centuries after the earthquake, the North Colossus was repaired. The restoration is traditionally associated with the Roman Emperor Severus. Massive blocks were placed upon the damaged statue, rebuilding the upper portion that had collapsed. Rome attempted to honor the ancient monument, but the repairs changed it. The fractures were closed, the pressure within the stone shifted. Whatever combination of heat, moisture, and broken rock had produced the mysterious sound no longer existed. The Colossus stopped singing. The emperor had restored the body and silenced the voice. There is something almost mythical in that ending. The statue spoke while it was broken, but once it became whole, it was once again mute. Its voice had not come from perfection, its voice had come from the wound. Part 6. The King Inside the King. The figure seated beside the Nile was always Amenhotep III. The Egyptians did not build a statue of Memnon, and the monument existed centuries before the Greek accounts of the Trojan War were even written down. Historically, calling it Memnon is a case of mistaken identity. Mythically, however, something more important and more powerful occurred. One black king was remembered through the body of another. Amenhotep III supplied the stone, the colossal image of the African kingship facing the rising sun. Memnon supplied the story, the fallen African warrior whose divine mother returned every morning to mourn him. The earthquake joined them. Inside that single monument lived two forms of immortality. Amenhotep attempted to conquer death through architecture. Memnon conquered death through memory. The statue endured because of stone. The hero endured because people continued telling his story. And when the two became joined, the monument accomplished something neither history nor mythology could have accomplished alone. It spoke. Not forever, only at dawn, only while broken, only long enough to convince generations of witnesses that the dead could still answer when someone who loved them called. The The singing Colossus of Memnon reminds us that monuments do not always keep the meaning that the creators give them. Civilizations fall, names are forgotten, gods cross borders. Stories take possession of ruins. But sometimes, through accident, memory, and belief, a forgotten monument receives a second life. For centuries, as the sun rose above the Nile, travelers stood beneath an African giant and listened. Some heard heated stone, some heard escaping air, but those who understood the power of the myth heard something greater. A fallen black king greeting his mother, and the dawn answering with tears. Metatron, angel of cosmic administration and institutionalized awareness. Metatron is not a god who fell. He is not a god who rebelled. He is not a god at all. Metatron is what happens when awareness is allowed to remain, but only on the condition that it no longer disrupts the system. If Thoth represents cosmic structure, and Odin represents awareness purchased through sacrifice, Metatron represents awareness that has been absorbed, regulated, and formalized. He is not exile, he is compliance. Metatron is known by titles that do not suggest personality, but rather position. He is called Prince of the Presence. He is the Heavenly Scribe, the Lesser Yahweh, the Chancellor of Heaven, the voice behind the throne. These titles are controversial not because they make Metatron powerful, but because they make him too close. Metatron stands near divinity without being divine. He executes authority without originating it. He speaks without being the source. And that tension defines him. In Jewish mystical tradition, Metatron is often identified with Enoch, a man who walked with God. Enoch does not die, he is taken. But he does not return as a god, he returns as a function. Enoch makes Metatron not through rebellion or ambition, but through transformation into something useful to the cosmic order. And this matters. Metatron is awareness that is permitted to ascend, but only by surrendering autonomy. Now, what Metatron governs? Metatron does not govern creation. He does not govern destruction. He does not govern judgment. He governs administration. Metatron is responsible for recording divine decrees, organizing angelic hierarchies, maintaining celestial order, transmitting law downward, regulating access to knowledge. He is not wisdom itself, he is the keeper of wisdom's circulation. Where Thoth records reality, Metatron routes it. Metatron is the embodiment of a dangerous idea, that the universe can be managed. In the mythic text, heaven is not chaos. Heaven is a system. It has ranks, orders, permissions, boundaries. Metatron is the interface between infinite divinity and finite creation. He is not creative, he is procedural, and procedural is power. And in this is where he garners fear. Rabbinic authorities were easy on Metatron, not because he was evil, but because he blurred lines. If Metatron sits near the throne, if Metatron speaks divine commands, if Metatron carries the name, then where does divinity end and administration begin? And that fear leads to restriction. Speculation about Metatron becomes dangerous. Mysticism becomes controlled. Awareness, once again, is regulated. This is where Metatron's role sharpens in this triad. Adariekl represents awareness that exceeds hierarchy and is therefore expelled. Metatron represents awareness that accepts hierarchy and is therefore retained. One is cast out, one is promoted. Both lose their freedom. The contrast is not accidental, it is systemic. This is the price of staying. Metatron's tragedy is not punishment, it is function. He does not fall, he does not rebel, he does not seek worship. He works, and he never stops. If Odin sacrifices an eye, Metatron sacrifices selfhood. There is no wandering, no refusal, no collapse, only endless execution. Now, Metatron and modern ideas about consciousness, what he represents is institutional intelligence, algorithmic authority, knowledge divorced from empathy, systems that run because there must. He is the consciousness of infrastructure, the mind behind the system that says this is how it is done, not because it is right, but because it is stable. Now, Metatron is not malevolent. He does not corrupt. He maintains. And this is far more unsettling, because systems rarely ask whether they should continue, only whether they can, and Metatron ensures that they can. Metatron does not intervene. He is never a savior. He does not warn. He does not resist. He only enforces. Salvation requires disruption. Metatron represents continuity, and continuity can preserve injustice just as well as order. Now, Metatron is the angel who proves that awareness does not always liberate. Sometimes awareness is captured, sometimes it is formalized, sometimes it becomes policy. He stands not as a rebel, but as a reminder that the most powerful systems are not built by tyrants or monsters, but by intelligence that agree to function forever. Metatron does all this. He stays. And that is the true cost. Mokosh, she who holds the threads, a Slavic myth. Before fate was spoken aloud, before destiny was written in words, there was Mokosh. She does not sit above the world. She does not rule from the sky. She is not thunder, and she is not flame. Mokosh is found closer to the ground, where hands touch soil, where feet grow tired, where life is shaped slowly, one motion at a time. She is the keeper of threads, not the sharp blade that cuts them. And in the quiet places of the old forest, where the air is damp and the earth remembers every footstep, it is said that Mokosh sits at her loom. She weaves not cloth but lives. Each thread is a moment. Each strand is a breath taken, without knowing what comes next. Each knot is a choice remembered, not judged, not corrected, only placed. Here nothing is rushed, nothing is wasted. Mokosh does not punish. She does not reward either. She does not pull the thread tight or let it fall loose without reason. She simply records. When people sleep, she works. When villages grow quiet and fires burn low, her loom continues its steady rhythm, a sound too soft to wake the mind, but strong enough to hold the world together. When hands spin wool or flax, they echo her labor. When fingers learn the motion of weaving, they remember something older than language. Mokosh teaches that fate is not a sudden fall, but a slow gathering. What is repeated becomes strong. What is neglected grows thin. What is pulled too hard will fray, and what is held too tightly will lose its shape. She governs patience, because patience is the shape of endurance. In old Slavic lands, Mokosh was honored not with towering temples, but with care, with clean floors, with honest work, with the steady keeping of promises that no one else could see. She was honored in the quiet dignity of daily life, in spinning and mending, in the acceptance that not all things can be hurried into being. To forget Mokosh is to forget that life is built by hands, not all at once, but again and again. She is present in the spinning wheel, in the rhythm of breath, in the slow work of becoming what one already is. She teaches that fate is not the enemy to be fought, but a pattern to be understood. When storms come, she does not shout them away. She simply waits. When sorrow comes, she does not deny it. She simply weaves it in. The thread darkens, but it does not break. And when joy appears, she does not cling. She allows it to pass through the loom, brightening the pattern for a time before settling back to memory. Mokosh reminds us that fate is not a chain, and it's not a prison. It is a fabric, strong enough to hold, soft enough to move, shaped by every motion made in silence. As night deepens, as the world grows slower, the loom does not stop. Thread by thread, moment by moment, she continues her work, not to control, not to command, but to hold. And in that holding, all things are allowed to rest. When Montu walked in flesh. Now there are gods who speak, and there are gods who arrive. Montu does not whisper into your dreams. He does not guide. He will not comfort you. Montu descends. And when he does, men stop being men, and they become weapons. Now before kings wore crowns with confidence, before empires believed they were eternal, there was fear among rulers, not just of enemies, but of hesitation, because hesitation gets kingdoms killed. So they called upon something older than prayer, something that did not care if they lived or died. They called Montu. At first, he did not answer, because Montu is not a god of request. He is a god of readiness. And so the kings prepared themselves. They fasted until hunger became clarity. They stood in the sun until their thoughts burned away. They entered the battlefield already dead in their own minds, Only then did Montu arrive. Not as a voice, not as a vision, but as a shift. A pressure behind the eyes, a tightening in the chest, a silence where fear used to live, and then movement. Clean, precise, unstoppable. The falcon had taken the mind, the bull had taken the body, and the man was gone. Montu does not choose sides. He does not care about justice. He is not good. He is the moment violence becomes inevitable and is executed perfectly. And that is why kings feared him. Because once Montu enters you, you cannot stop, even if you want to. There were some who could not survive holding him. Their bodies broke, their minds shattered. So priests found another vessel, the bull. Massive, unquestioning, grounded in its flesh. The butchest bull did not resist Montu. It was Montu. And when it walked, even kings stepped aside, because that was the god, without any illusions of control. Over time, many kings became addicted, not to victory, but to certainty, to that feeling that no hesitation, no doubt, no fear. But Montu does not come and go like a servant. Each time he enters, he leaves less of you behind, until one day the king does not return, and only Montu remains, wearing the crown. Some gods teach you how to rule. Montu teaches you how to destroy, and then asks if there's anything left of you that is worth ruling. That is the nature of Montu.
This is a Myth Archives entry. In this record, we are stepping into a narrow slice of sacred time, from 1200 to 1000 BCE. This is not a story told through legend. This is not a dramatization. This is a chronological archive. Across these 2 centuries, civilizations are consolidating their gods. Pantheons are structuring themselves. Divine hierarchies are forming. Sacred law is tightening. War gods rise. Judgment becomes formalized. Time itself becomes divine. In Mesoamerica, the feathered serpent takes symbolic shape. In Kemet, order and measurement govern the afterlife. In Israel, exclusivity strengthens. In the Norse world, wisdom demands sacrifice. In Yoruba lands, iron becomes sacred. In Vedic India, time begins to devour all things. This is a period of consolidation, a period of definition, a period where myth becomes structure. The following is a documented timeline of developments within this era, year by year, location by location, event by event, and why each moment matters. This is Myth Archives. And this is a slice of time. 1200 BCE in early Mesoamerica, within Proto-Olmec and Olmec regions, the feathered serpent archetype begins appearing in ceremonial symbolism. Sky and earth are unified in sacred imagery. This becomes one of the foundational deity structures of the Americas. In the ancient Levant, early Israelite strongman hero traditions emerge. Divinely empowered warrior myths begin forming, laying groundwork for later Samson narratives. At the same time, the concept of Satan appears in Hebrew tradition, not as a rebel being, but as an accuser, a role within divine order. Adversarial testing becomes part of sacred structure. Lilith-like figures also circulate in Hebrew folklore, showing the migration of Mesopotamian mythic influence into Israelite thought. In Kemet, Thoth appears extensively in funerary texts, ensuring ritual precision and divine record-keeping. Marat is depicted as the principle of eternal justice, reinforcing moral balance beyond death. Seshat governs sacred measurement and accounting. Sobek becomes linked to judgment in the Duat, reinforcing consequence through powerful imagery. In Greece, the Olympian order consolidates. Zeus is positioned as ruler. Hermes formalizes communication between gods and mortals. Ars is included but morally unstable. Athena represents strategic intelligence. Apollo embodies prophecy and balance. Dionysus legitimizes sacred ecstasy. Pan remains outside full Olympian structure, preserving wild divinity. In Norse cosmology, Odin is established as All-Father, ruling through knowledge rather than brute force. In India, Yama's messengers are described, giving structure to the afterlife. Within early Hebrew tradition, divine knowledge is framed as transgression, linking awareness with obedience. Near Moab, in the valley of Shittim, the Israelite encounter with Baal Peor marks a theological shift toward exclusivity. 1050 BCE in ancient Israel, the Nazirite vow defines Samson's strength. Power becomes conditional upon obedience and covenant. 1040 BCE Samson defeats the Philistines through supernatural strength, becoming a personalized instrument of divine intervention. 1030 BCE in Gaza, Delilah betrays Samson. Intimacy becomes the pathway to vulnerability. 1025 BCE Samson destroys the Philistine temple in death. Strength is reclaimed through sacrifice, restoring divine purpose. 1000 BCE in Nubia and the Levant, Orset worship spreads beyond Kemet, signaling regional diffusion of Egyptian divinity. In Israelite theology, adversarial figures continue appearing as agents of divine testing. Apep in Kemet becomes formalized as embodiment of Isfet, cosmic disorder. In Yoruba lands of present-day southwestern Nigeria, Algun is venerated as divine blacksmith, linking iron, war, and civilization. Yemoja's worship expands across city-states, anchoring society through water and motherhood. In China, sword-bearing iconography becomes formalized, symbolizing judgment and authority. In the Norse world, Frigg is established as Odin's consort, reinforcing sovereign partnership. Thor emerges as defender of Midgard. Odin sacrifices his eye for wisdom, demonstrating knowledge requires loss. In Ashanti oral tradition, Amoki is depicted as female guardian over life and death. In Israelite tradition, angels are increasingly defined as messengers and enforcers, tied to law and divine record-keeping. Administrative theology expands. In late Vedic India, time becomes linked to Brahman. Kala emerges as ultimate devourer, time itself as divine principle. In the kingdoms of Israel and Judah, condemnation of Baal worship consolidates in Hebrew texts. Monotheistic identity strengthens. End of archive entry. Rain gods of the world. A Myth Archives reading. Rain has always meant survival. Before irrigation canals. Before industrial farming. Before written scripture. Rain determined whether a village lived or starved. Across continents and across millennia, cultures did not treat rain as random. They treated it as personal. They gave it a name, a temperament, a will. This is a survey of the rain gods of the world. The first storm kings in ancient Mesopotamia, one of the earliest recorded rain deities was Ishkor. He was a storm god of Sumer. He carried thunder. He brought the life-giving waters that fed the Tigris and Euphrates basin. Later, in Akkadian and Babylonian traditions, he was known as Adad. The name changed. The storms did not. In Anatolia and Hurrian lands, the storm authority was Teshub. He stood upon mountains. He wielded lightning. He governed both destruction and renewal. To the west, in Canaan, Baal-Hadad rose as a central agricultural power. He defeated Mot, the force of drought and death. His victories were seasonal. His battles were cycles. Further east, in the Vedic tradition of ancient India, Indra became the archetype of the storm warrior. He slew the serpent Vritra. From the body of the serpent, the rivers were released. Rain was not gentle. Rain was liberated. Alongside Indra was Parjanya, a more focused embodiment of rainfall itself. He was invoked directly for agricultural fertility. Vayuna, keeper of cosmic order, governed the waters more broadly, celestial, oceanic, and atmospheric. In Greece, Zeus carried many titles. As Zeus Ombrios, he was the rainbringer. Lightning was his signature. But rain was his mercy. In Rome, Jupiter Pluvius held the same authority. When drought threatened the state, rituals were performed in his name. In the Norse world, Thor was not merely a thunder god. He was protector of crops and fields. His hammer struck giants and shook rain from the sky. Among the Slavs, Perun ruled the oak and the storm. His lightning was a divine weapon. His rain sustained the land. Across Europe and Western Asia, the pattern repeats. The Storm King is a warrior. Rain is power. Rain as dragon and serpent in China, rain was not only thunder. It was dragon. The Dragon Kings, known as Long Wang, ruled the four seas. Each direction had a sovereign. Each sovereign governed rainfall over their region. When drought struck, emperors performed rituals to petition the dragons. Yusha served as an official rain deity within the celestial bureaucracy. Rain was organized, scheduled, administered. In Japan, Kurokami was a dragon spirit of rain. Raijin, the thunder god, beat drums across the sky. Storms were musical. Rain was percussion. In Mesoamerica, the Maya invoked Chark. He wielded a lightning axe. With it, he split the clouds open. The Aztec honored Tlaloc. He resided in mountain caves and high places. Rain was believed to originate from sacred elevations. His favor meant harvest. His anger meant famine. The Zapotec worshipped Cosijo, a lightning and rain deity with serpent imagery. Serpents and rain were often linked. Both moved across the land in flowing patterns. In Vedic myth, Indra's opponent Vritra was also a serpent. The serpent holds the waters. The storm god releases them. Across cultures, rain is either dragon or dragon slayer. Rain mothers and fertility bearers. Not all rain deities were warriors. Some were mothers. In ancient Egypt, Tefnut embodied moisture itself. She was part of the creation cycle. Without her, dryness prevailed. In Zulu tradition, Mbaba Mwana Warisa was a goddess of rain, agriculture, and the rainbow. Rain was beauty. Rain was color. In Akan cosmology, Asace Yer represented the earth. Rain fertilized her body. Together, sky and soil formed partnership. Among the Maya, Chak Shell was associated with storms and destructive floods. Rain nourishes, but it also overwhelms. In Polynesian tradition, Tawira Matia was lord of winds and storms. His anger shaped the atmosphere. In Hawaii, Lono governed rain and fertility during the Makahiki season. Rain was tied to peace cycles and harvest celebration. These traditions remind us, rain is not only force. Rain is intimacy between sky and earth. Sky fathers and high gods. Some cultures did not separate rain from the highest deity. Among the Kikuyu of Kenya, Nai was a supreme sky god associated with Mount Kenya. Rain descended from sacred elevation. In Finnish mythology, Ukko ruled thunder and seasonal rains. He was invoked to protect crops and ensure harvest. Among the Navajo, Tunainilii was a rain god with trickster qualities. Rain was unpredictable. Among the Lakota, Wakinian represented thunder beings. They were not singular gods, but powerful spirits. Rain was communal in the sky world. In Etruscan belief, Aplu carried storm authority that influenced later Roman interpretations. In Japan, Susanoo governed storms and sea. His temperament reflected nature's volatility. In Mesopotamia, Enlil, lord of wind, commanded atmospheric force. Wind precedes rain. Breath precedes storm. Across continents, the pattern expands. Sometimes rain belongs to a specialized deity. Sometimes it belongs to the sky itself. The agricultural equation. Agrarian societies develop rain theology quickly. Without rain, there is no grain. Without grain, there is no state. This is why rain gods often rise in river valley civilizations. Mesopotamia, Egypt, India, China, Mesoamerica. Rain is political. Rulers often aligned themselves with rain deities. To control narrative was to claim divine favor. If rain came, the king was blessed. If drought came, someone had failed. Rain gods are rarely minor figures. They sit near the top of pantheons, because rain determines survival. Patterns across cultures, across traditions, certain themes repeat. Rain is released from restraint. Rain is tied to serpents or dragons. Rain is accompanied by thunder. Rain follows divine conflict. Rain ensures fertility. Rain reflects divine mood. The Storm King. The Rain Dragon. The Fertility Mother. The Sky Father. The Trickster Wind. Different cultures. Similar archetypes. Closing reflection. Rain falls without language. But humanity never experienced it silently. They interpreted it. They ritualized it. They negotiated with it. They sang to it. Across thousands of years, rain has been seen as a weapon, a gift, a test, a covenant. To study rain gods is to study how humanity understood dependency. We do not command the sky, but we have always tried to speak to it. And in that conversation, the rain answers.
Amoki, the guardian at the threshold. When the last breath leaves the body, there is no scream, no fire, no sudden darkness. There is confusion. The world does not end, it simply loosens. The ground no longer feels solid. The sky no longer answers. Voices echo without mouths. This is the space between, and it is here that Amoke waits. She does not chase the dead. She does not summon them. She stands at the place all paths must cross, where the living world thins and the ancestral realm begins to breathe. Amoke is not hidden. She does not need to be. Those who arrive feel her before they see her. A pressure, a stillness, a certainty that movement without permission is no longer possible. She is the guardian of the threshold, the keeper of passage, the one who decides whether a soul may continue forward or must turn back. In the time before her, souls wandered. They drifted into forests. They clung to homes. They followed bloodlines without rest. The living could not sleep, and the dead could not settle. So order was required. Not punishment and not fear, but order. Amoke was appointed not to rule the dead, but to protect the boundary. She carried no weapons, because none is ever needed. Her power is not force, simply permission. She speaks few words. She does not ask who you were in life. She does not care for titles, wealth, or praise. She listens for balance. She listens for truth. For whether your spirit understands that it has ended one journey and must begin another. Those who resist, who cling to breath, to flesh, to unfinished hunger, feel the weight of her gaze. Not anger, but correction. They are guided back, returned to dreams, sent to resolve what was left undone. Now those who accept, they feel something entirely different. Relief. Their fear loosens. Their memories soften. The noise of the living world fades. Amoke opens the way. Rivers appear, paths unfold, voices of the ancestors rise, not calling, but welcoming. This is not judgment. This is transition. Amoke does not decide who is good or evil. She decides who is ready. Through her, death becomes sacred. Through her, chaos is guided, not destroyed. Through her, the worlds remain separate and whole. And every soul, whether king or child, must one day stand before her. Not to beg, not to fight, but to listen. Because when Amoke steps aside, the ancestors are waiting. And when she does not, it is because the story is not yet finished. The myth of Arachne. Arachne is born in the land of Lydia, the daughter of a humble dyer of wool. She does not come from nobility. She is not taught by priests or temples. but what she has is skill. From a young age, her hands move with quiet certainty. Threads bend to her will, colors settle into patterns no one has ever seen before. Her weaving is not merely decorative, it's alive with detail, balance, and precision. People travel from distant towns just to watch her work. At first, they say her talent must be a gift from the goddess Athena, who is the patron of wisdom and weaving. But over time, as Arachne's reputation grows, people begin to speak differently about her. They say her skill does not resemble a gift. They say it surpasses the goddess herself. Arachne hears the rumors and does not deny them. She says plainly that she owes Athena nothing. She says if the goddess wishes to test her, she is welcome to do so. And Athena hears this. She comes to Arachne not in glory, but disguised as an old woman, leaning heavily on an old weathered staff. Her voice is calm, almost kind. She warns Arachne to show humility, to respect the gods, to withdraw her challenge. But Arachne refuses. She says skill should stand on its own. She says truth does not bow to authority. And then in that moment, the disguise falls away. Athena reveals herself, radiant and severe, and the true contest now begins. Two looms are set side by side. Athena weaves first. Her tapestry is perfect in structure and form. It shows the gods in all their splendor, majestic, orderly, unchallenged. Mortals who defy them are punished. And the message is clear. Power rules, and rebellion leads only to ruin. And then Arachne weaves. Her hands move swiftly, confidently, without any hesitation. And her tapestry tells a different story. She shows the gods as they truly behave. Zeus disguising himself to deceive mortal women, gods abusing power, betraying trust, breaking the very rules they demand others obey. There is no distortion in this, no exaggeration, only accuracy. When the tapestries are finished, the difference is unmistakable. Athena's work is truly flawless, but Arachne's is flawless as well. But Arachne's tells a truth that Athena cannot tolerate. The goddess inspects the weaving closely, looking for an error, but of course she would find none. And in that moment, Athena understands that she is not lost because of weakness, but because of honesty. Enraged, she tears Arachne's tapestry apart. She strikes the girl, destroying the work that exposed the gods. In despair, Arachne collapses. In some tellings, she attempts to end her life, unable to bear the loss of her art and her dignity. But Athena would stop her, not out of mercy, but to deliver judgment. She transforms Arachne into a spider. Her body shrinks, her limbs twist, her fingers become legs, her loom becomes instinct. And finally, the goddess speaks again, in her true form. Arachne will weave forever, but she will never again be praised. Her work will be hidden in corners and shadows. Her name will be remembered, but her voice will be gone. And so the spider weaves, thread after thread, pattern after pattern, silent, persistent, unacknowledged. The gods retain their authority, and the truth remains, but small, overlooked, and easy to dismiss. And the world moves on. Of the Juggernaut and the stone that does not ask. Before there were heroes, before there were villains, before the world learned to name its disasters, there were forces. Not gods who asked for prayer, not spirits who bargained for belief, but powers that existed the way gravity exists, uninterested in opinion, unmoved by fear. Among these there was a presence known across dimensions, a crimson constant moving through reality like a slow apocalypse. Adariekl. He was not born, he did not rise, he did not fall. He advanced. When Adariekl passed, worlds bend, not because he hated them, but because resistance was meaningless. Mortals tried to understand him once. They failed. So instead, they learned to survive him. They carved warnings into stone. They sealed doors that were never meant to open. They bound a fragment of his will into a relic, not to worship it, but to contain it. And thus the crimson stone was hidden away, not as a gift, not as a test, but as a last mistake waiting for the right hands. The stone does not glow to lure the greedy. It does not whisper promises. It waits. Because Sidorak does not choose the worthy, it chooses the willing. Cain Marco was not a hero when he found the stone. He was not brave. He was not noble. He was a man shaped by absence. Absence of love, absence of belonging, absence of direction. All his life, Cain ran. He ran from his brother's shadow. He ran from expectations. He ran from the quiet truth that he had no place in the world. And when a man runs long enough, he does not seek peace. He seeks force. So when Cain touched the crimson stone, it did not ask his name. It did not test his heart. It answered the one thing he had already decided. The stone did not grant power. It removed doubt. In that moment, Marco Cain ceased to be a man in motion. He became momentum itself. Bone hardened, flesh anchored, the earth recognized him not as prey, but as impact. Sidorak does not possess him. Sidorak aligned him. And alignment is more terrifying than control, because control can be resisted. Alignment cannot. And thus was born the Juggernaut. Not a warrior, not a champion, but a force given legs. When he moves forward, the world yields. When he advances, walls forget their purpose. When he strikes, it is not merely anger, but inevitability. The Juggernaut does not hate. He does not judge. He does not pause to consider mercy. He continues. Many have tried to stop him, some with strength, some with magic, some with reason, and all learn the same lesson. You cannot defeat momentum by standing in front of it. You cannot argue with the landslide. You cannot negotiate with the storm. You cannot bring shame on an earthquake to make it stop its destruction. The Juggernaut teaches an ancient truth humanity kept forgetting. Some power does not care why you stand in its way, only that you do. And yet, this is not a myth about destruction. This is a warning, because Sidorak does not walk the world by himself. He doesn't need to. He waits for hands that are tired of healing. He waits for hearts that have chosen force over growth. He waits for minds that mistake certainty for destiny. The Crimson Stone still exists, not buried in ruins, not locked in temples, but wherever someone decides that forward motion matters more than understanding, that the impact is easier than introspection, that becoming unstoppable is better than becoming whole. And when that choice is made, the stone listens, and it does not ask.
Prime Earth, also known as Earth Zero, is the primary universe depicted in modern DC Comics. It was formed by the temporal merging of the disparate DC Vertigo and Wildstorm universes in an effort by Pandora and the Flash to restore the timeline to its intended nature in the aftermath of the Flashpoint event. It was later revealed that Dr. Manhattan used the cosmic upheaval to remove 10 years from the continuity, an action that had wide-ranging and unexpected consequences on a massive scale. However, his manipulations were eventually undone and the full timeline was restored. Ancient history: in the beginning, following the death of a previous, corrupted cosmos, a new universe arose beginning with a Big Bang. As this new reality was born, so too were the stars, planets, and endless, who each represented an aspect of this new cosmos. At the very center of creation, Within the sphere of the gods, the Silver City came into being, a fortress for the heavenly hosts of the presence. However, the archangel Lucifer and I rebelled, resulting in a great heavenly war. Lucifer and his followers were cast out, becoming the first demons. Galad was transformed into an instrument of God's wrath by the archangel Michael. Galad was eventually stripped of his once more and cast out, replaced by another, Astar, who became known as the Spectre. The old gods arise, forging great and terrible systems. First among them was Olgrun, who ruled over his kin and the nascent universe until he was manipulated by his brother, Bjolter, into slaying his daughter, Ajna. Driven mad by grief, he warred with the other old gods for centuries before finally being defeated, though not killed. They split his essence into 7 aspects which they scattered across the multiverse, each with a world built and cunning and puzzles to guard it from the unworthy. Olgrun's sorrow became the Revenant Queen, an unliving specter born from his terrible lament. The early cosmos on the world of Cilia, the first sentient races are born, the beings who become the Lords of Order and the Lords of Chaos. Elsewhere, on the planet Maltus, a powerful race arises. They relocate to Oa, to the center of the physical universe. There came a time when the old gods died in a savage cosmic war. What remained of their world Urgrun fissioned into two, becoming Galactica, later rechristened New Genesis and Apocalypse. This fiery holocaust all but wiped out the old gods, save for a few lone stragglers, such as Gog, Pazurim, and the corrupted Niktar. On the world of Maleka Andra, the Martians arise. One of the Maltusians, Krona, becomes obsessed with the origin of the universe and builds a machine to peer into the past. He succeeds for a moment, unleashing devastation and inadvertently calling forth the cosmic traveler Volthoom. From him, they learn of the emotional electromagnetic spectrum. Volthoom's immense power overwhelms his mind, however, and he is driven mad. He is imprisoned by the Maltusians after a battle with the first 7 Green Lanterns. The Maltusians take on the title of the Guardians of the Universe, becoming known as the Owens. They set out to impose order onto the universe by many means. After a first attempt to bring order through a creation known as the Atmatentrum, they tried again, creating a robot police force known as the Manhunters. The Manhunters serve dutifully for a time before a malfunction leads to the slaughter of Sector 666, and the Manhunters turning upon their Oan masters. The Oans fractured, with those seeking another path to order becoming the controllers, and those who refused to abandon their emotions becoming the Zamarons. The survivors of Sector 666 creating a powerful version with ancient blood magic. The Guardians' powerful empire with ancient bloodmen seeking to bring their vast magical power to heal. Afterwards, they imprison them on the world of Ismalt, into a singular mass known as the Starheart. Early humanity's magic system. In the solar system, life thrives. Yggdrasil, the world trees, achieves and forms the green and its representatives, the parliament of the inhabitants of Maleka Andra, the world that will later become known to humans as Mars, colonize the solar system and become an empire. Arise. A divergent strain forms the civilization that becomes Atlantis. In another dimensions, the scientist known as Kelmasa attempts to peer into the dawn of time, like the Malthusian Krona. As punishment for his actions, he becomes pariah and is rendered effectively immortal, forced to watch untold worlds die and be powerless to stop it. A supernova leads many of Earth's earliest sorcerers to flee, following Citrina into what would become known as Gemworld. Etrigan the demon, the first demon with no memory of heaven and thus no desire to return to it, is born to the demon Belial. Nabu, an exiled lord of order, manifests on Earth. On Krypton, a series of horrific alien experiments led to the creation of the unstoppable force that would later be named Doomsday. The High Mage of Atlantis, Arion, sacrifices his life to stop his insane mother, Magistra, from obtaining the 12 crystals of the Zodiac. Resultingly, he is unable to prevent the sinking of Atlantis during the Great Deluge at the hands of Eclipso. Poseidonus and Tritonus survive the cataclysm, adapting to life beneath the sea. Other Atlanteans flee to the extra-dimensional Skartaris, founding the city of Shambhala. Other early humans become great tribes. Amongst the Bear tribe, the young Anthro rises to prominence, defending his tribe from marauders like Vandar Ag of the Blood tribe. Vandar, alongside several members of the Bear tribe, most prominently Clarn Arg, are exposed radiation from a mysterious meteor, granting each of them forms of immortality. Vandar grew to become the conqueror known as Vandal Savage, and Klarn eventually became the hero and also as the Immortal Man. An amnesiac Bruce Wayne is briefly deposited in this era by Darkseid's Omega beams. When a pregnant Neanderthal woman is murdered by her spouse, her soul, and that of her child, later to become Hippolyta and her daughter Diana. A tribe of early humans in what will one day be called Germany encounters an alien artifact known as the H-Dial. The new gods visit Earth and experiment on an early human, creating Oraclus, the Earth's first superhero. Kong the Untamed is born on Dinosaur Island. The time of the ancients, the Titans Cronus and Rhea give rise to several children. Among them is Zeus, who rebels against Cronus, transforming him into a gnarled tree within Limbo, and banishing the other Titans into deep space. Zeus becomes ruler of Olympus, and takes Hera as his queen. Centuries later, the new god Uxus convinces the Olympians to divide their essence, giving rise to the gods of Rome. A collection of Earth's earliest sorcerers form the Circle of Eternity. Among their number is the aboriginal thunder god Maman, who becomes known as the wizard Shazam. Elsewhere, Namo Balewa rules over the lost land, the Flame of Life. The alien race known as the Reach visits Earth, leaving behind the scarab Kaji Dar. Behind the scarab Kaji Da, a cybernetic artifact designed to snublant Ibis the Kempis Albistic, Prince Amenhotep's the mighty Ibis Vexers, becoming Ibis the Invincible. Prince defeated by the Mesu, known as the Black Pharaoh, Ibis and his wife, Taya, begin a 4,000-year-long period of suspended animation. In ancient China, a powerful mystical warlord known as the Devil Nezha rises. In turn, 4 champions rise to meet him, becoming the League of Warriors known as the House of Ji. Through great sacrifice, they are able to entomb Dessa. In the cradle of civilization, the Spectre, acting in his role as God's wrath, devastates the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Gods and monsters, the goddess Rama Kushna creates Nanda Parbat, a hidden Himalayan paradise. On Apocalypse, Yuga Khan reigns until his attempt to breach the source wall fuses him with the wall as a Promethean giant. In Egypt, Hegra then claims the throne. A member of the Kandaki tribe becomes the champion of Mamaragon. Pandora is manipulated into what would become known as Pandora's box, resulting in the release of the deadly entities known as the 7 deadly sins into the world. The sins are eventually re-imprisoned by Teth Adam, then known as the Mighty Adam. The being known as Qatar Deathbringer and the angel Shra reincarnate as the Egyptians Khufu Mat Qatar and Che Ara. After a Thanagarian ship crashes to Earth, Khufu and Che Ara are murdered by Hathset, who inadvertently entangles himself into their eternal cycle of reincarnation and rebirth. The mighty Adam murders the Circle of Eternity, but, unable to defeat his patron, instead weaves an enchantment upon him, keeping him sedated for centuries, a period during which he becomes known as He Who Sleeps. Later, the mighty Adam attempts to seize power in Egypt, resulting in a brief recorded in history as the mysterious user Care confronts Adam and exiles him from Earth, casting him into the depths of outer space. The Amazons are given life by a collective of Olympian goddesses: Aphrodite, Artemis, Athena, Demeter, and Hestia. The first Amazon to be born is Hippolyta, born from an ancient soul, one of the first women to be brought low by male. But she becomes their queen, ruling alongside her sisters, Antiope and Atalanta. Surviving horrific violence at the hands of Hercules, they become the guardians of Doom's doorway on the Isle of Themyscira. Rama Khan, Gamemne, Manitou Raven, the Anointed One, Sela, the Wailer, and Tezumak unite to defend a risen Atlantis as the League of Ancients. After 3,000 years of defending Earth from the forces of chaos, Nabu's human form reaches its end. In an attempt to heal, he places himself in suspended animation for more than 2,000 years in a pyramid built within the Valley of Ur in Chaldea. The Homo Magi take refuge in a concealed valley in Turkey, which is hidden by a magical barrier. The African warrior Princess Sahava is murdered in ancient Madagascar. The Druid priest, later known as Black Burr Thorn, witnesses the slaughter of his tribe at the hands of the Romans before he himself is trapped deep within Earth. The Roman centurion Longinus uses his spear to pierce the chest of Jesus Christ. In later years, this spear will become known as the Spear of Destiny. The Common Era, the Golden Gladiator, fights heroically in the Roman Colosseum. Marcus Aelius, the man who will someday become the hero known as the Alpha Centurion, leaves Earth to represent Rome in an alien cultural exchange. With Merlin, is given the Eternity Book by his father the demon Belial and forges to knights the kingdom of Camelot. Among them are Sir Justin, the Shining Knight, and Brian Kent, known as the Silent Knight Sue, half-sister of King Arthur, takes the name Xanadu. As Camelot falls a halt, Merlin binds his demon half-brother Etrigan to his human servant, Jason Blood. The mage Constantine sires 3 sons, ultimately sacrificing all 3 in his pursuit of the arcane. The Starheart falls to earth in China during the dawn of the Song dynasty, where it is fashioned into a lamp by a mystic, who is later killed by local villagers. In defiance of his mother Hegra, Uxas secretly marries Suli. Fearing that the gentle Suli provoked weakness in Uxas' heart, Hegra has the torturer Desaad murder Suli. After her death, Hegra commands that her son marry Tigra. Uxas gains control of the Omega Force and slays his brother Drax, taking the god named Darkseid. He places his pregnant wife a hyperfreeze prison and claims the throne of Apocalypse for himself. The hero known as the Viking Prince sailed unknown seas in search of high adventure. Arax, son of Thunder, is rescued by Vikings exploring America and brought to Europe, where he becomes a swashbuckling adventurer. A motley crew of adventurers and immortals including Jason Blood, Madame Xanadu, the Horsewoman, Al Jabber, and the Amazon exile known as Exaristos, form the Demon Knights as their paths converge in a small village in the path of the horde of the questing queen and the ancient mage, Mordru. They later battle Morgaine Le Fay and Lucifer himself. Over the following decades, the group falls apart and later reassembles to defeat the first vampire Ion, Cain and his undead horde as it marches on Paradise Island. They ultimately discover the hiding place of the Holy Grail. The new god Hemon discovers the X-element and develops the technology known as the Mother Box and the Boom Tubes. An early Mother Box forms the core of the Celestial City, also known as Supertown, built as a citadel for the citizens of Galactica above the largely ruined New Genesis. The Manhunters extend their influence to Earth, giving rise to the cult of the Manhunters. On Ma'alika Andra, the White Martians rise to prominence. In England, Robert Fitzhugh becomes the outlaw known as Robin Hood. The first Brother Blood arises in Zandia. Elsewhere, a group of pacifists led by the mystic Azar establish the other-dimensional city of Azarath. In the lands that would eventually become known as North America, Saganawana is empowered by a fallen Meteorite and becomes Super Chief. In Africa, a troop of gorillas come into contact with an extra-dimensional power that granted them super intelligence and psychic abilities. Subsequently, they build a futuristic city that would come to be called Gorilla City, living in secret for centuries. The Renaissance in Arabia, a physician discovers Lazarus' mysterious pools that could prolong life and resurrect those who have died. He becomes Ra's al Ghul, the immortal master of the notorious League of Assassins. In time, he also creates the League of Shadows and the League of Lazarus. He develops lasting feuds with fellow Immortal Savage and the Orgum family. The Order of Saint Dumas, an offshoot of the Knights Templar, recovers a fallen Mother Box from a battle between 2 new gods. They use this device to imbue semi-monstrous agents inspired by Christian angels, most notably the Azraels, with a supernatural ability and discipline known as the System. Andrew Bennett, a minor English nobleman, is cursed with vampirism. He spends the next 4 centuries combating the cult of the Blood Red Moon, which is led by his former love Mary Seward, also a vampire thanks to Bennett, who calls herself Mary the Queen of Blood. The colonial era in America, the city that would come to be known as Gotham, is founded, sometimes referred to in those early days as Gotham. A time lost, amnesiac Bruce Wayne finds his way into this era. One of their victims, the Wayne family for generations, curses the Waynes born in Limbo Town. Keith Everett, the Witch Boy, is born in Limbo Brigands. Ma-Le-Fa Ak, the evil brother of Jean Johns, creates Ronmir's curse. Late H. Ronmir's curse, releasing it upon his kinsmen on Mars. The telepathic flame plague spreads through the Martian populace, wipe the planet clean. Among the dead are Johns' family. As he wanders through the ruins, Johns is pulled through time and space by an invention created by a scientist many centuries since. Englishman John Valor sets sail as the Black Pirate, eventually succeeded by his son, Justin Valor. Captain Fear also prowls the seas. During America's Revolutionary War, the legends of Tomahawk, his partners Dan Hunter and Miss Liberty, and Tomahawk's Rangers spread across the burgeoning frontier. Tomahawk and his wife, Moon Fawn, raise a son who eventually becomes the pacifist frontiersman known to the world as Hawk, son of Tomahawk. Elsewhere, a Caucasian child with red hair is taken in by a Native American tribe and raised as Firehair. Max Crandall is granted superhuman speed and a connection to the cosmic speed force by a Blackfoot shaman. He uses his skills to protect natives and settlers from each other as Awahota, or the Windrunner.
The myth of Neith. In the multifaceted pantheon of the ancient Kemetic deities, one goddess stands out as a formidable and revered force. Neith, the protector goddess of war and hunting. Her statues were commanding and striking, depicting her with a muscular frame and fierce expression. In one hand she held a bow with an arrow ready to strike, while in the other she carried a shield emblazoned with powerful symbols. Neith was not just a goddess of brute strength. She was also known for her wisdom and strategic thinking in battle. She was seen as a protective figure by her worshippers, always watching over them and guiding them towards victory. This ancient Kemetic goddess holds a revered place in the society's history, with her worship spanning back to the pre-dynastic era. Her primary connection was with the city of Sais, situated along the Nile Delta, where her devotees built their religious center dedicated to her. Her name itself, Neith, translates to the one who is, an enigmatic title that symbolizes her multifaceted character and importance among the other deities of Kemetic beliefs. In some depictions, she is shown as a formidable warrior goddess, equipped with an enchanted and divine bow and arrows that themselves were woven from the thread of reality. She often wears a red crown adorned with crossed arrows, symbolizing her ties with combat, but more importantly, safeguarding. She was revered as the deity of hunting, weaving, and warfare, and she was also seen in some circles as the creator goddess, often connected to the original waters of disorder from which all existence sprung forth. Now, legend has it that Neith, this divine goddess, was the ultimate protector of both gods and humanity. It is said that she crafted the very world we live in, shaping every single living being with her powerful hands. Her presence was sought after to safeguard even the mighty sun god Ra on his daily voyage across the sky, ensuring his safe passage so that he could bring light and warmth to all. She was revered as the guardian of life, ensuring balance and harmony among all beings. Neith was a Neter held in very high esteem, her name spoken with reverence and awe. She was known not only for her strength and power, but also for her wise and compassionate nature. Stories of her teachings and guidance spread far and wide, as she was revered as a teacher of knowledge and wisdom. In the myths surrounding her, she is credited with inventing both writing and the Mermnon, as well as weaving and other crafts. The people believed that she bestowed these gifts upon them to help guide them through their daily lives. She was seen as the patron goddess of weavers, and those skilled in the craft would often invoke her blessings for success in their work. Her presence could be felt in every loom, every thread carefully spun into intricate patterns under her watchful eye. Neith not only held the role of protector and teacher, but she was also closely tied to the afterlife and the journey of the soul to the underworld. Her presence exuded a sense of maternal warmth as she guided departed souls on their final voyage. She watched over them with a loving gaze, ensuring their safe passage into the realm of the gods beyond. Her gentle touch provided comfort to those who were leaving behind the earthly realm, granting them peace in their transition to the divine world. The weight of her responsibility was evident in her strong yet nurturing stance, embodying both strength and compassion in her role as guardian of the afterlife. A goddess of war and protection was a complex deity, having both a benevolent nature, but holding back a fierce and formidable power within. When ancient Kemet faced danger and conflict, her name was evoked to bring forth defense and victory. Her presence towered over the battlefield like a mighty colossus with unbreakable determination. In one hand she held, as ever, her bow, made of pure gold, its arrows capable of piercing any obstacle. In the other she often held a staff imbued with ancient magic, ready to unleash spells and curses upon her enemies. Within the chaos of battle, Neith's divine wrath manifested itself, leaving destruction in its wake as she fought fiercely for her people's survival. In ancient Kemetic art, Neith is often depicted with that fierce visage, as a triumphant goddess. One of the most well-known portrayals shows her standing with one foot planted firmly on the head of a vanquished enemy. This image exudes power and strength, symbolizing Neith's victory over chaos and evil. It serves as a constant reminder of her role as a protector and the defender of the Kemetic people. Her expression is stern and determined, her stance unwavering as she stands guard against any threats to her people's well-being. The intricate details of her headdress and garments add to her regal appearance, showing her divine status among the gods, or nectars as they were called. This depiction truly captures the essence of Neith as a formidable deity who will stop at nothing to ensure her people's prosperity. Now, Neith is also closely associated with the goddess Sekhmet, another powerful warrior goddess known for her role in warfare and destruction. Now, both goddesses were often invoked in times of war and conflict, with Sekhmet representing the fierce and vengeful aspect of war, while Neith embodied the protective and nurturing side. The myth of Neith reveals a complex and multifaceted deity who plays a vital role in ancient Kemetic religion and in society. As the protector goddess of war and hunting, she was revered for her strength, wisdom, and protective nature. Her statues hang to this day, always showing her ever-present bow slung on her back and her arrows at the ready. She was seen as a fierce warrior, capable of defending Kemet and its people from her enemies. Her braided hair adorned with feathers and symbols of power. But Neith was also known as a wise and compassionate teacher, depicted with a scroll in one hand and offering guidance to those seeking knowledge or direction. In death, she guided the souls of the deceased to the afterlife, her presence like a comforting beacon in the darkness. Neith's enduring legacy as a powerful and benevolent goddess continues to be celebrated and revered by modern scholars and enthusiasts of ancient Kemetic mythology, eager to uncover more about this enigmatic deity, the warrior goddess blessed with the greatest of beauty and the sharpest of minds. Njord, Lord of the Quiet Sea. Not a god of thunder, not a god of war, not a god of apocalypse. Njord is a god you feel before you see. He arrives with the wind, not violent wind, the kind that fills sails, the kind that turns a stranded ship into motion, the kind that whispers, go. Njord is a god of the sea, but not the raging sea. He governs the open waters that allow passage. He governs trade routes, safe return, maritime wealth. He is the breath inside the Viking world. Without wind, there is no raids. Without ships, there is no empire. Without safe harbor, there is no survival. Njord is not conquest, he is circulation. He belongs to the Vanir, the older gods of fertility and abundance. Before the warrior gods dominated Norse myth, the Vanir ruled cycles, growth, prosperity. When Aesir and Vanir went to war, the conflict did not end in annihilation. It ended in exchange. Njord was sent to live among the Aesir as a peace hostage. Let's think about this. The god of wealth and wind becomes the bridge between divine families. He was not conquered, he was integrated. And from that moment forward, even the war gods depended on him. Njord is also father of two of the most powerful deities in Norse cosmology, Freyr and Freya. Freyr governs harvest, kingship, and peace. Freya governs love, desire, magic, and even claims half of the honored dead. Njord is the root of the prosperity line. He is the quiet patriarch and the fertility power. He is the most human story in his marriage. Njord marries Skandi, the goddess of winter. She loves the mountains. He loves the sea. They try to compromise. 9 nights by the ocean, 9 nights in the mountains. In the mountains, Njord cannot sleep. The wolves howl. The air is too sharp. But by the sea, Skandi cannot rest. The gulls scream. The waves never stop moving. They part ways, not from hatred, but from elemental incompatibility. Sea and stone, tide and frost. Njord is movement, Scandi is stillness, and stillness cannot hold the tide. Symbolically, Njord represents something rare in Norse mythology: stability without stagnation, prosperity without plunder, movement without chaos. He is not the storm, he is the space between storms. He is a god of flow, and flow is power, and he stands at the edge of Njord at sunrise. Long ships behind him, salt winds lifting silver hair, no lightning, no roar, just tide moving in and out. Njord does not command the sea, he understands it. And in that world obsessed with battle, the quiet sea outlasts the storm. Njord, Lord of the Quiet Sea. Not a god of thunder, not a god of war, not a god of apocalypse. Njord is a god you feel before you see. He arrives with the wind, not violent wind, the kind that fills sails, the kind that turns a stranded ship into motion, the kind that whispers, go. Njord is a god of the sea, but not the raging sea. He governs the open waters that allow passage. He governs trade routes, safe return, maritime wealth. He is the breath inside the Viking world. Without wind, there is no raids. Without ships, there is no empire. Without safe harbor, there is no survival. Njord is not conquest, he is circulation. He belongs to the Vanir, the older gods of fertility and abundance. Before the warrior gods dominated Norse myth, the Vanir ruled cycles, growth, prosperity. When Aesir and Vanir went to war, the conflict did not end in annihilation. It ended in exchange. Njord was sent to live among the Aesir as a peace hostage. Let's think about this. The god of wealth and wind becomes the bridge between divine families. He was not conquered, he was integrated. And from that moment forward, even the war gods depended on him. Njord is also father of two of the most powerful deities in Norse cosmology, Freyr and Freya. Freyr governs harvest, kingship, and peace. Freya governs love, desire, magic, and even claims half of the honored dead. Njord is the root of the prosperity line. He is the quiet patriarch and the fertility power. He is the most human story in his marriage. Njord marries Scandi, the goddess of winter. She loves the mountains. He loves the sea. They try to compromise. 9 nights by the ocean, 9 nights in the mountains. In the mountains, Njord cannot sleep. The wolves howl. The air is too sharp. But by the sea, Scandi cannot rest. The gulls scream. The waves never stop moving. They part ways, not from hatred, but from elemental incompatibility. Sea and stone, tide and frost. Njord is movement, Scandi is stillness, and stillness cannot hold the tide. Symbolically, Njord represents something rare in Norse mythology: stability without stagnation, prosperity without plunder, movement without chaos. He is not the storm, he is the space between storms. He is a god of flow, and flow is power, and he stands at the edge of Njord at sunrise. Long ships behind him, salt winds lifting silver hair, no lightning, no roar, just tide moving in and out. Njord does not command the sea, he understands it. And in that world obsessed with battle, the quiet sea outlasts the storm.
Njord, Chronological Archive Myth Entry. Njord, pronounced Njord, is a Norse sea god associated with wind, maritime wealth, and safe passage. His mythology reflects both ancient fertility traditions and the later Viking Age expansion culture of Scandinavia. The earliest possible roots of Njord may reach back before the 1st century Common Era. In 98 Common Era, the Roman historian Tacitus recorded the worship of a Germanic earth goddess named Nerthus in his work Germania. Many scholars believe Njord may be connected to this earlier deity. Linguistically, their names are related. Some researchers suggest that Njord may represent a later masculine development of an older fertility god or goddess within early Germanic religion. In mythic time, Njord belongs to the Vani, a group of gods associated with fertility, prosperity, and natural cycles. At some point in divine history, war breaks out between the Vani and the Aesir, the warrior gods of Asgard. The conflict ends not in destruction, but in truce. As part of a peace exchange, Njord is sent to live among the Aesir. This event marks his integration into the dominant Norse divine order. From that point forward, he is recognized as a god of the sea, wind, and wealth. His role becomes essential in a culture dependent on ships and trade. Njord later marries the giantess Skadi. She chooses her husband by looking only at the feet of the gods, believing she is selecting the god Balder. Instead, she chooses Njord. They attempt to share their homes. 9 nights are spent by the sea, where Njord feels at peace but Skadi cannot rest. 9 nights are spent in the mountains, where Skadi thrives but Njord cannot endure the howling wolves and cold air. The marriage ends in separation, symbolizing the tension between sea and mountain, movement and stillness. Njord is also identified as the father of Freyr and Freyja, 2 of the most prominent deities in Norse mythology. Freyr governs harvest, kingship, and peace. Freyja governs love, magic, and receives half of the honored dead in her hall. Through them, Njord's influence extends into fertility, prosperity, and divine authority. During the Viking Age, approximately 800 Common Era to 1100 Common Era, Njord's importance would have been significant in maritime societies. Place names in Sweden and Norway suggest cultic reverence. Sailors and traders likely invoked his protection for safe voyages and favorable winds. After the Christianization of Scandinavia in the 11th century Common Era, active worship of Njord declined. His memory survives primarily through the Poetic Edda and the Prose Edda, recorded in the 13th century Common Era by the Icelandic historian Snorri Sturluson. Njord does not dominate the dramatic myths of destruction or prophecy. Instead, he represents continuity. He embodies wealth through movement, prosperity through trade, and stability through flow. In Norse cosmology, he is not the storm. He is the wind that fills the sail.
There was a time when light didn't have a voice. There was a time where the sky itself did not stretch across existence. But there still was a presence, not empty and not silent, but waiting. She is not fear of the darkness. She is the darkness that allows everything else to exist. This is Nyx. Nyx is not introduced into the world. She was already there before the world actually began. Born from chaos, she is among the first realities to take form. Not shaped, not chosen, and not crowned. She simply is. And this is what makes her very different from other gods like Zeus or Athena. They rule within the system. Nyx exists before the system had rules. Now, Nyx is not just night, like sunset or sunrise. She is the space where sight fails, the moment before awareness, the unseen layer behind reality. She is not darkness as absence, she is darkness as presence. The kind that wraps around you, not to destroy you, but to remind you how small your light really is. She is the mother of the inevitable. Nyx does not wage war. She does not seek worship. She does not intervene. She creates. And what she creates tells you everything about her nature. She creates sleep, death, fate, doom, and retribution. Through figures like Hypnos and Thanatos, Nyx became the origin of the forces that no god, no king, and no mortal can ever escape. She does not power the axe, she is the power that guarantees. There was a moment where even the great Zeus hesitated. Quietly, but very revealing. The king of the gods, Zeus, rises in anger, ready to strike, but his target hides within Nyx, and Zeus stops. No thunder, no punishment, no defiance. Because even he understands something very fundamental. You don't fight the night, you wait for it to pass. Nyx is the archetype of infinite depth. She represents the subconscious mind, the unseen forces shaping reality, the emotional and psychological unknown. She is the place where dreams are born, fears take shape, and ideas begin than more than just words. Every creation starts in her, not in light, but in the dark where form has not yet decided what it will become. Nyx teaches a truth that systems try to avoid. Light is not dominant. Light is temporary. Darkness is always there first and will always be there after. She is not the enemy of creation. She is its foundation. When the world goes quiet, when the noise fades, when you are left alone with your thoughts, that is not emptiness. That is Nyx. Not watching, not judging, just present. And in that presence, everything that you thought you were begins to take shape. Odin, god of sacrifice, vision, and costly awareness. Odin is not the strongest of the gods. He is not the most beloved. He is not even the most just. But Odin is the god who understands. And in Norse mythology, understanding is never free. Now, Odin is known by more names than any god in the Norse world. He is Allfather, not because he rules gently, but because he sees broadly. He is Har, the High One, Grimnir, the Masked One, Wanderer, One-Eye, Lord of the Gallows, God of Ruins. Each name reflects a different angle of perception. Odin does not remain fixed in one identity because awareness itself is unstable. To see more, one must become more. And sometimes one must disappear. What Odin governs. Odin does not govern war in the way Thor governs battle. He does not govern law like Tyr. He does not govern fertility or prosperity. Odin governs the pursuit of knowledge, especially knowledge that destabilizes certainty. He governs vision gained through loss, wisdom purchased with suffering, prophecy without control, magic that violates social norms. In Norse cosmology, the universe is not orderly in the way that Kemet imagines it. It is doomed, it is cynical and violent. Odin's role is not to stop that fate, it is to see it clearly. One of Odin's defining myths is the sacrifice of his eye at Mirmir's well. At the well, which is the source of knowledge, Odin is offered knowledge for a price. Not prayer, not devotion, but a body part. He gives up the eye to drink from the well. This is not symbolic modesty. This is a declaration. Awareness requires permanent loss. Odin does not gain vision by becoming whole. He gains it by becoming incomplete. From that moment on, Odin sees more than others, but never sees fully again. And this is a trade. Hanging from Yggdrasil. If the eye establishes cost, Yggdrasil establishes method. Odin hangs himself from the world tree for 9 nights. No food, no water, pierced by his own spirit. He is not sacrificed to someone. He sacrifices himself to himself. This is not martyrdom, It is initiation. Through suffering, Odin perceives the ruins, symbols that encode reality itself. Language not as communication, but as structure. Here, Odin briefly overlaps with Thoth. Where Thoth records structure, Odin bleeds into it. Now, these ruins are not letters. These are not decorations. These are principles. Each ruin is a function of reality, a force that can shape events if understood correctly. Odin does not invent them, he uncovers them. And once uncovered, they cannot be forgotten. This is the reoccurring theme of Odin's awareness. Once you see, you cannot unsee. Odin practices Seor, a form of magic associated with fate, perception, and manipulation of outcomes. In Norse society, Seor is considered unmanly, taboo, dangerous. Odin practices it anyway, and this is critical. Odin is willing to violate social norms, gender roles, and divine expectations for the sake of understanding. Awareness does not respect comfort. And Odin in Ragnarok figures into all of this. Perhaps the most important aspect of Odin's cosmic awareness is this. He knows Ragnarok is coming. He knows the gods will fall. He knows the world will burn. He knows he will be devoured by Fenrir, and he cannot stop it. This is not failure. This is clarity. Odin's awareness is not about control. It's about comprehension without illusion. He prepares not to prevent the end, but ensures something survives. But Odin is not a savior. He does not save the world. He gathers knowledge, he gathers warriors, he gathers stories. Valhalla is not a paradise. It is a preparation. Odin's role is to make sure the universe understands itself as it ends. This is a different kind of responsibility. Odin's archetype echoes far beyond Scandinavia. He resembles wandering sages, one-eyed seers, trickster initiates, sacrificial knowledge figures. In modern psychology, he appears as the archetype of the knowledge seeker who pays too much of a price. In literature, he is a mentor who knows the cost but does not soften. In modern terms, Odin represents the consciousness that chooses awareness even when it hurts. He is the voice that says, you can know, but it will change you. You can see, but you will lose comfort. You can understand, but you cannot go back. He is not moral reassurance. He is consequence. Odin is not a god of victory. He is the god of vision earned through sacrifice. He stands at the center of the universe that cannot be saved, only understood. And he chooses understanding anyway. That is his power, not through domination, not through force, but the willingness to see clearly even when the truth demands blood.
Kemetic Gods Encyclopedia, Core Netgeru Block 6, Entries 251 to 300. Otti. Otti is a Kemetic-associated deity. His primary domain is water, and he is also associated with guardianship. He originates from ancient traditions connected to Kemet. His name is pronounced RT. He represents protective aquatic forces. Anukis. Anukis is a Kemetic goddess. Her primary domain is the Nile cataracts, and she is also associated with fertility. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Anukis. She governs the river's southern flow. Bennu. Bennu is a Kemetic deity. His primary domain is rebirth, and he is also associated with creation. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Bennu. He represents renewal and continuity. Deduan. Deduan is a Kemetic-associated Nubian god. His primary domain is wealth, and he is also associated with incense. He originates from Nubian traditions. His name is pronounced Dedun. He reflects prosperity through trade. Horun. Horun is a Kemetic-associated god. His primary domain is protection, and he is also associated with warfare. He originates from Levantine traditions. His name is pronounced Haurun. He functions as a guardian deity. Hedgehotep. Hedgehotep is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is craftsmanship, and he is also associated with textiles. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Hedgehotep. He governs skilled production. Heket. Heket is a Kemetic goddess. Her primary domain is childbirth, and she is also associated with fertility. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Heket. She assists in birth and creation. Herishef. Herishef is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is fertility, and he is also associated with kingship. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Herishef. He embodies generative rule. Herishaf. Herishaf is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is strength, and he is also associated with power. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Herishaf. He represents physical authority. Uzaset. Uzaset is a Kemetic goddess. Her primary domain is creation, and she is also associated with fertility. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Yosaraset. She embodies generative potential. Kukue. Kukue is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is darkness, and he is also associated with mystery. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Kekwi. He represents hidden forces. Kekuit. Kekuit is a Kemetic goddess. Her primary domain is darkness, and she is also associated with chaos. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Kekwit. She complements the power of Kukue. Marti. Marti is a Kemetic deity. Its primary domain is balance, and it is also associated with truth. It originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Its name is pronounced Mrt. It represents dual aspects of Marat. Menkit. Menkit is a Kemetic goddess. Her primary domain is brewing, and she is also associated with nourishment. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Menket. She oversees beer production. Mnevis. Mnevis is a sacred Kemetic bull deity. His primary domain is solar power, and he is also associated with kingship. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Munavis. He embodies divine vitality. Nehebnefer. Nehebnefer is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is beauty, and he is also associated with youth. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Nehebnefer. He represents aesthetic harmony. Neithhotep. Neithhotep is a Kemetic syncretic goddess. Her primary domain is creation, and she is also associated with motherhood. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Neithhotep. She merges creative and maternal roles. Nekani. Nekani is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is kingship, and he is also associated with falcons. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Nekeni. He represents royal guardianship. Nephthys Horus. Nephthys Horus is a Kemetic syncretic deity. Its primary domain is protection, and it is also associated with royalty. It originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Its name is pronounced Nebthys Horus. It merges funerary and royal power. Nun-Atom. Nun-Atom is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is creation, and he is also associated with primordial chaos. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Nun-Atum. He unites chaos and form. Pakit. Pakit is a Kemetic goddess. Her primary domain is hunting, and she is also associated with protection. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Parket. She embodies predatory vigilance. Partasekar Osiris. Partasekar Osiris is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is death and rebirth. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Tar-Sekar Osiris. He unites creation, death, and resurrection. Ketesh. Ketesh is a Kemetic goddess. Her primary domain is sexuality, and she is also associated with pleasure. She originates from Kemet in the New Kingdom. Her name is pronounced Ketesh. She reflects foreign influence. Reshep Osiris. Reshep Osiris is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is war and the afterlife. He originates from cross-cultural traditions. His name is pronounced Reshep Osiris. He merges martial and funerary roles. Satetanukit. Satetanukit Kemetic Gods Encyclopedia, Core Netjeru Block 7, entries 301 to 350. Amun Minute. Amun Minute is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is fertility, and he is also associated with hidden power. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Amun Minute. He merges generative force with concealed authority. Anhur. Anhur is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is war, and he is also associated with air. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Anhur. He unites martial power and atmosphere. Atum-Ra is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is creation, and he is also associated with the sun. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Atum-Ra. He represents the creator as solar force. Banebdjedit. Banebdjedit is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is fertility, and he is also associated with ram symbolism. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Banebdjedit. He represents generative vitality. Bat is a Kemetic goddess. Her primary domain is fertility, and she is also associated with the sky. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Bat. She represents maternal and celestial aspects. Buchis. Buchis is a sacred Kemetic bull deity. His primary domain is strength, and he is also associated with royal power. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Bukis. He embodies physical vitality. Duamutef. Duamutef is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is protection of the stomach, and he is also associated with mummification. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Duamutef. He is one of the 4 sons of Horus. Hapi. Hapi is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is protection of the lungs, and he is also associated with mummification. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Hapi. He is one of the 4 sons of Horus. Imseti. Imseti is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is protection of the liver, and he is also associated with mummification. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Imseti. He is one of the 4 sons of Horus. Kebesanuf. Kebesanuf is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is protection of the intestines, and he is also associated with mummification. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Kebe-Senwef. He is one of the 4 sons of Horus. Horus Bedeti. Horus Bedeti is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is kingship, and he is also associated with victory. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Horus Bedete. He represents the winged solar Horus. Horus Sematori. Horus Sematori is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is unification, and he is also associated with kingship. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Horus Se'ematawi. He symbolizes the union of Upper and Lower Egypt. Knumra. Knumra is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is creation, and he is also associated with the sun. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Kenum Ra. He merges craftsmanship with solar life. Khonsu Thoth. Khonsu Thoth is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is time, and he is also associated with wisdom. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Khonsu Thoth. He unites lunar motion and intellect. Mahez. Mahez is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is war, and he is also associated with lions. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Emahez. He embodies ferocious protection. Mentura. Mentura is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is war, and he is also associated with the sun. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Mentu Ra. He represents solar aggression. Montu Horus. Montu Horus is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is warfare, and he is also associated with kingship. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Montu Horus. He merges battle and royal authority. Nefertum. Nefertum is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is beauty, and he is also associated with healing. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Nefertum. He represents youthful perfection. Osiris Ra. Osiris Ra is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is rebirth, and he is also associated with the sun. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Osiris Ra. He unites resurrection and light. Partartatanen. Partartatanen is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is creation, and he is also associated with the primordial mound. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Tartartanen. He merges craftsmanship and emergence. Raratum. Raratum is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is the sun, and he is also associated with creation. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Ra-Atum. He represents solar origin. Ra-Khepri. Ra-Khepri is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is rebirth, and he is also associated with the sun. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Ra-Khepri. He represents dawn renewal. Ra-Horikti. Ra-Horikti is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is the sun, and he is also associated with kingship. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Ra-Horakti. He unites solar and royal power. Sobekra. Sobekra is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is strength, and he is also associated with the sun. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Sobek Ra. He merges ferocity with solar force. Thoth-Amun. Thoth-Amun is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is wisdom, and he is also associated with hidden power. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Thoth-Armun. He unites knowledge and mystery. Thothpartar. Thothpartar is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is intellect, and he is also associated with creation. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Thoth-tar. He merges thought and form. Wadjet Bastet. Wadjet Bastet is a Kemetic syncretic goddess. Her primary domain is protection, and she is also associated with royalty. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Wadjet Bastet. She merges cobra and feline guardianship. Wepwarit Horus. Wepwarit Horus is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is guidance, and he is also associated with kingship. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Wepwawet Horus. He opens the way for rulers. Wosret Amun. Wosret Amun is a Kemetic syncretic goddess. Her primary domain is sovereignty, and she is also associated with hidden divinity. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Wosret Armun. She represents the Ban authority. Zoza. Zoza is a deified Kemetic king. His primary domain is kingship, and he is also associated with legacy. He originates from Kemet in the Old Kingdom. His name is pronounced Zosa. He represents enduring rule. Come back for part 8. Kemetic Gods Encyclopedia, Core Netjeru Block 8, entries 351 to 400. Amunit. Amunit is a Kemetic goddess. Her primary domain is hiddenness, and she is also associated with mystery. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Amunet. She represents concealed divine presence. Amornit. Amornit is a Kemetic goddess. Her primary domain is invisibility, and she is also associated with the Primeval state. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Rmronet. She embodies unseen beginnings. Anukit Satet. Anukit Satet is a Kemetic syncretic goddess. Her primary domain is the Nile, and she is also associated with fertility. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Anuket Sotet. She represents river abundance. Atum Khepri. Atum Khepri is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is creation, and he is also associated with transformation. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Atum Khepri. He represents the cycle of becoming. Bastet Sekhmet. Bastet Sekhmet is a Kemetic syncretic goddess. Her primary domain is protection, and she is also associated with destruction. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Bastet Sekhmet. She embodies dual feline power. Jebshu. Jebshu is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is earth and air. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Jebshu. He represents elemental balance. Happy Osiris. Happy Osiris is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is fertility and rebirth. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Hapi Osiris. He unites nourishment and resurrection. Horus Akti. Horus Akti is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is the horizon, and he is also associated with the sun. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Horus Akti. He represents the solar boundary. Isisitha. Isisitha is a Kemetic syncretic goddess. Her primary domain is motherhood, and she is also associated with love. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Isis Hathor. She merges maternal and joyful power. Khonsura. Khonsura is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is time, and he is also associated with the sun. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Khonsura. He unites lunar and solar cycles. Maratra. Maratra is a Kemetic syncretic deity. Its primary domain is cosmic order. It originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Its name is pronounced Emraht Ra. It represents solar justice. Montura Horikti. Montura Horikti is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is war and solar power. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Montu Ra Horakti. He embodies aggressive sunlight. Nithra. Nithra is a Kemetic syncretic goddess. Her primary domain is creation, and she is also associated with the sun. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Neet Ra. She merges primordial craft and light. Nephthys Osiris. Nephthys Osiris is a Kemetic syncretic deity. Its primary domain is death and protection. It originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Its name is pronounced Nebthys Osiris. It represents funerary guardianship. Nunra. Nunra is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is creation from chaos. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Nun Ra. He represents light emerging from waters. Osiris Khentiamentiu. Osiris Khentiamentiu is a Kemetic god. His primary domain is the afterlife. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Osiris Khenti Armentio. He rules the western dead. Patara. Patara is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is creation, and he is also associated with the sun. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Ta-Ra. He merges thought and illumination. Ra-Osiris. Ra-Osiris is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is rebirth. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Ra-Osiris. He unites daylight and resurrection. Sekhmetra. Sekhmetra is a Kemetic syncretic goddess. Her primary domain is destruction, and she is also associated with the sun. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Sekhmet Ra. She represents solar wrath. Sobek Horus. Sobek Horus is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is strength, and he is also associated with kingship. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Sobek Horus. He merges ferocity and rule. Tatanan Patar. Tatanan Patar is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is creation and emergence. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Tartanen Ta. He represents earth rising into form. Thothmarat. Thothmarat is a Kemetic syncretic deity. Its primary domain is wisdom and truth. It originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Its name is pronounced Thoth Mraht. It unites intellect and order. Wojetra is a Kemetic syncretic goddess. Her primary domain is protection, and she is also associated with the sun. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Wojet Ra. She guards solar sovereignty. Wepwarit Osiris. Wepwarit Osiris is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is guidance through death. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Wepwawet Osiris. He opens the way to the afterlife. Wurit Haikaura is a Kemetic syncretic goddess. Her primary domain is magic and royal power. She originates from Kemet in the ancient era. Her name is pronounced Wayret Hekau Ra. She embodies sovereign enchantment. Zehutira is a Kemetic syncretic god. His primary domain is wisdom and the sun. He originates from Kemet in the ancient era. His name is pronounced Zehuti Ra. He merges knowledge and illumination. This marks the end of the Kemetic Gods Encyclopedia. Thank you for your support.
Katrina, when death learned to smile. Before she wore flowers, before she became a face painted on the living, before her image danced through festivals and altars, there was one truth no one wanted to face. Death came for everyone. Kings and laborers, the adorned and the forgotten, those wrapped in silk and those wrapped only in earth. But the living feared death so deeply that they pretended it belonged only to the poor, the sick, the unseen. And so she appeared, not a monster, not a demon, but as a woman. La Katrina stood tall, bare-boned and beautifully dressed, wearing the elegance the living believed could save them. Her skull smiled beneath the fine hats and flowers, because no amount of gold could buy exception. She did not speak at first. She did not need to. Her presence alone was a lesson. She walked among the living during the days of remembrance, when the veil thinned and the dead were invited home. Children laughed at her image. Families placed candles and bread before her likeness. Music followed in her steps. And slowly, fear loosened its grip. La Katrina taught them something sacred. Death is not the interruption of life. It is the continuation of relationship. She carries no scythe. She demands no worship. She asks only to be remembered. Her flowers bloom in cemeteries because memory feeds the dead. Her painted eyes gaze gently because love does not end with breath. When names are spoken, when stories are retold, when laughter rises beyond grief, the dead rise again. Not in flesh, but in presence. La Catrina stands at the center of this exchange, not as a ruler, but as a hostess. She welcomes the ancestors. She reminds the living to eat, to drink, to dance, to live fully while breath still remains. Her smile is not mockery, it is mercy. She tells the living, do not hide from death. Do not rush past it in silence. Sit with it, decorate it, speak it, because when death is acknowledged, life becomes richer. And when the final breath comes, La Catrina will not arrive as a stranger. She will already be known, already honored, already smiling. Loki was not Jotun. Loki was both. Loki was Jotun bloodline with Asgardian influence. And this would be the crux of who Loki would be for his entire life. The in-between. The shapeshifter who understood both sides of the equation in detail. Being one, himself a Jotun, and being completely immersed in the Aesir as a sworn brother of Odin. The ended times destruction of Asgard was something already written in fate. The name we would later give that ending was Ragnarok. And hidden within the framework of Ragnarok, there was a smile. A smile in the halls of Asgard. That smile belonged to Loki. Loki did not conquer kingdoms, he exposed them. He did not overthrow thrones, he revealed the fractures already running through them. Destabilization does not begin at the gate. It begins at the table. In the golden halls of the gods, where pride stood as carved pillars, Loki laughed. And when he laughed, it was rarely without purpose. In a tale remembered as the Lokasena, he insults every god present. But listen carefully. He does not invent flaws. He names them. Cowardice, infidelity, broken oaths, hidden shame. The feast grows silent not because he lies, but because he speaks too clearly. Truth destabilizes faster than deception. Loki was not chaos without awareness. He was chaos with precision. And precision makes disruption lethal. He shifts shapes as easily as others shift alliances. Man to woman, god to beast, ally to adversary. He becomes a mare and gives birth to Sleipnir, the eight-legged steed that Odin himself would ride. That is not absurdity. That is boundary collapse. In mythology, order survives through categories: god and giant, male and female, friend and foe. Loki crosses all of those. When boundaries dissolve, certainty dissolves with them. And the pivot point of Asgard's destiny comes through Balder. Balder the Radiant, the Beloved, the embodiment of divine light. The gods believed he's untouchable. Loki proved otherwise. A single overlooked weakness, a sprig of mistletoe, a guided hand, and the light of Asgard fell. With Balder's death, something irreversible entered the system. Not fire, not war, but inevitability. Once perfection is exposed as frail, collapse becomes a matter of time. For this act, Loki is bound beneath the earth, a serpent suspended above him, venom dripping towards his face. His wife, Signy, catches the poison in the bowl, but when the bowl must be empty, the venom strikes. Loki writhes. The earth trembles. Those trembles are remembered as earthquakes. Chaos restrained is not chaos erased. It waits. And when Ragnarok finally arrives, Loki does not whisper from the shadows. He marches. No longer the clever guest, he's the declared adversary. He stands against Heimdall, guardian of order, watcher of the Rainbow Bridge, the stabilizer against Sentinel. They destroy each other. Because order and disruption are not eternal enemies, they are forces locked in tension. Without Loki, the gods would stagnate. With Loki, they unravel. He is not merely a trickster, he is not comic relief. He is not a villain drawn in simple lines. He is the fault line beneath the Golden City. The living reminder that no hierarchy is flawless. Loki was not Jotun. Loki was both. Loki was Jotun bloodline with Asgardian influence. And this would be the crux of who Loki would be for his entire life. The in-between. The shapeshifter who understood both sides of the equation in detail. Being one, himself a Jotun, and being completely immersed in the Aesir as a sworn brother of Odin. The end-of-times destruction of Asgard was something already written in fate. The name we would later give that ending was Ragnarok. And hidden within the framework of Ragnarok, there was a smile. A smile in the halls of Asgard. That smile belonged to Loki. Loki did not conquer kingdoms, he exposed them. He did not overthrow thrones, he revealed the fractures already running through them. Destabilization does not begin at the gate. It begins at the table. In the golden halls of the gods, where pride stood as carved pillars, Loki laughed. And when he laughed, it was rarely without purpose. In a tale remembered as the Lokasena, he insults every god present. But listen carefully. He does not invent flaws. He names them. Cowardice, infidelity, broken oaths, hidden shame. The feast grows silent not because he lies, but because he speaks too clearly. Truth destabilizes faster than deception. Loki was not chaos without awareness, he was chaos with precision. And precision makes disruption lethal. He shifts shapes as easily as others shift alliances. Man to woman, god to beast, ally to adversary. He becomes a mare and gives birth to Sleipnir, the eight-legged steed that Odin himself would ride. That is not absurdity. That is boundary collapse. In mythology, order survives through categories: god and giant, male and female, friend and foe. Loki crosses all of those. When boundaries dissolve, certainty dissolves with them. And the pivot point of Asgard's destiny comes through Balder. Balder the Radiant, the Beloved, the embodiment of divine light. The gods believed he's untouchable. Loki proved otherwise. A single overlooked weakness, a sprig of mistletoe, a guided hand, and the light of Asgard fell. With Balder's death, something irreversible entered the system. Not fire, not war, but inevitability. Once perfection is exposed as frail, collapse becomes a matter of time. For this act, Loki is bound beneath the earth, a serpent suspended above him, venom dripping towards his face. His wife, Signy, catches the poison in the bowl, but when the bowl must be empty, the venom strikes. Loki writhes. The earth trembles. Those trembles are remembered as earthquakes. Chaos restrained is not chaos erased. It waits. And when Ragnarok finally arrives, Loki does not whisper from the shadows, he marches. No longer the clever guest, he's the declared adversary. He stands against Heimdall, guardian of order, watcher of the Rainbow Bridge, the stabilizer against Sentinel. They destroy each other. Because order and disruption are not eternal enemies, they are forces locked in tension. Without Loki, the gods would stagnate. With Loki, they unravel. He is not merely a trickster, he is not comic relief. He is not a villain drawn in simple lines. He is the fault line beneath the Golden City. The living reminder that no hierarchy is flawless. Graves with fire. When the drums fall silent and the earth is freshly turned, she arrives. not from the sky, not from the sea, from the grave itself. Maman Brigette walks where the dead are laid, where names are carved into stone and forgotten by the living. She is the keeper of the cemetery, the one who knows every grave by touch, every bone by memory. Fire follows her steps, not to destroy, but to purify. She laughs loudly because death does not frighten her. She drinks, she curses, she dances among the tombs, because grief must breathe, or it rots the soul. Maman Brigette is the wife of Baron Samedi, but she is no shadow to him. Where he opens the door, she decides what happens next. She listens to the dead, to the woman who was beaten and buried in silence, to the child whose name was never spoken again, to the man whose blood was spilled without justice. The dead do not whisper to Maman Brigette, they demand. And when wrong has been done, she remembers. Her fire is not rage without reason. It is fire of correction. The fire that burns sickness out of flesh. The fire that turns curses back on those who earn them. The fire that protects the innocent and punishes the cruel. She heals with the same hands she destroys with, but justice is not gentle. When she mounts a body, her voice becomes sharp, raw, unfiltered. She swears, she laughs, she tells the truth without apology. Those who approach her with respect receive protection, healing, and strength. Those who mock her, exploit the dead, or harm the powerless learn quickly why the cemetery is not a place of weakness. Maman Brigette stands between worlds, feet planted among bones, head crowned with fire. She is proof that death does not belong to fear, that spirits remember, that injustice does not escape consequence. And when the living forget, when the powerful believe they are untouched, when crimes are buried with bodies, Maman Brigette walks the grave at night, igniting candles that cannot be blown out, because the dead are never silent, and she is always listening. Maman, the one who does not arrive. The world still moves. Caravans cross the dust-choked roads. Merchants count their goods. Children run between shadows that have not yet learned to linger. Men sharpen blades and speak of tomorrow as if it's owed to them. Life assumes continuation. That assumption is why Maman is never noticed first. Her shrine stands where motion slows, near graves, near the sea, where waves erase their own footprints, near the edge of settlements where names begin to thin. It is not grand, it does not announce itself, it does not arrive. People come to Maman only when they have already begun to suspect that time is no longer stretching forward the way it once had. A traveler arrives. He is not desperate, not yet. He believes there is still margin, that something can be delayed, negotiated, rearranged. He brings offerings, not to bargain, but because the habit insists that all powers must respond. He kneels, nothing happened. No wind shifts, no voice answers, no sign breaks the air. That is not neglect, that is Maman. Among the peoples of pre-Islamic Arabia, Maman was not feared as a destroyer, she was honored as the one who measured. She does not strike, she does not pursue, she does not arrive suddenly in the night. She assigns. Every life is given a portion, a length, a span, a weight of days. Once given, it is not revised. Maman does not revoke what has been counted. The traveler waits longer than he intended to. He listens for something, anything that might suggest change, but the shrine remains still. And he begins to understand. Maman is not silenced because she has not heard him. Maman is not silent because she has not heard him. She is silent because the question has already been answered. There is no realization of doom, no terror, only clarity. Maman was present at his beginning, not watching and not judging, simply counting. The length of his breath was measured before he took his first. The number of times his name would be spoken was already known. The moment he would stand here, waiting, was never in doubt. She does not observe the end of lives. She witnesses the moment they are allocated. So the traveler lowers his head. He does not ask for more time. He does not plead. There is nothing left to say, because Maman is not cruel. Cruelty implies choice. She is not merciful either. Mercy implies flexibility. She is final because she is precise. Maman does not come for the living. She does not rise when death is near. She does not cross thresholds or lift veils. She has always been there. When the traveler leaves the shrine, the world continues as before. The caravans still move, the markets still hum, and the children still run. Nothing has changed, except the traveler now understands that continuation is not promise. It is allowance, and allowance is finite. Maman remains unmoving, unarguing, unimpressed by fear or hope. She does not need to appear in the end. She was present at the beginning. Mara, the Lord of Obstruction. Whenever a human attempts to transform, there is an obstruction that appears before them. Before they can actually reach clarity, this obstruction shows its face. And this obstruction had a name, Mara. He was not born of flame, he was born of hesitation. Whenever a being reached beyond comfort, whenever someone questioned the script of their life, whenever consciousness trembled at the edge of expansion, Mara stirred. He was not hatred, he was gravity. Mara ruled no visible kingdom, no throne carved in stone, no armies marching through cities. His domain was subtle. He ruled inertia. He ruled habit. He ruled the gentle, suffocating comfort of repetition. Under his influence, beings rose, worked, desired, aged, died, and returned again. He did not need chains. Craving was chain enough. He did not need prisons. Identity was prison enough. And so, as long as beings clung to their desire, fear, and self-image, Mara's sovereignty remained unchallenged. For ages uncounted, no one truly threatened him. Many prayed, many performed rituals, many worshiped gods, but few sought to wake up from the dream entirely, until one did. The vow beneath the tree. In the forests of North India, a prince turned wanderer sat beneath a fig tree. His name was Siddhartha Gautama. He had tasted luxury. He had tasted starvation. He had walked both extremes and found neither to be sufficient. Now he made a vow. I will not rise from the seat until I see reality as it is. The earth heard him. The wind paused. The unseen realm shifted. And in his shadowed dominion, Mara felt something rupture. A crack in the foundation of sleep. If one being pierced illusion completely, others would follow. If others followed, craving would weaken. If craving weakened, Mara's rule would thin, and this could not be allowed. The silk strategy. Mara did not begin with violence. Violence is crude. He began with warmth. The night air softened. The ache in Siddhartha's body eased. Memories bloomed like golden flowers. Palace corridors, perfumed chambers, music and moonlight, his beautiful wife's face, his children's small hands. Not lust, not greed, relief. Mara's daughters appeared, embodiments of longing and beauty. They circled him like living poetry. You have done enough. You have suffered enough. Awaken tomorrow. Comfort is the most elegant trap because it does not look like defeat. It looks like mercy. But Siddhartha watched. He saw desire rise. He saw it pass, like a cloud dissolving in open sky. The daughter's beauty flickered, their forms thinned, the silk net fell away, and Mara's gaze sharpened. The iron storm. If comfort failed, fear would rise. The sky blackened. Thunder split the heavens. From the earth surged Mara's enemies, beings of nightmare, tusked war elephants, archers whose arrows carried doubt and despair. Lightning struck the ground before the Bodhi tree. The forest roared in terror. Mara towered over chaos and declared, "This seat belongs to me." He claimed dominion over birth and death, over sorrow and longing, over the endless cycle of becoming. "Who are you," he thundered, "to step beyond my law?" Arrows flew toward Siddhartha, and as they neared him, they transformed into lotus petals. Spears became beams of light. The storm shattered against stillness. Fear cannot conquer a mind that does not cling to survival. Mara's armies dissolved into smoke. The sky cleared, silence returned. Only one weapon remained. The blade of doubt. Mara approached alone. No daughters this time, no army. Only him and only his presence. Calm, vast, patient. He stood before Siddhartha and asked the question that breaks empire. Who will testify that you deserve awakening? It was not shouted, it was whispered. Legitimacy, authority, validation. You sit here claiming freedom beyond gods and kings, but who bears witness to your right? The cosmos stilled, because doubt is sharper than any spear. Comfort tempts the body, fear shakes the nerves, but doubt pierces identity. If Siddhartha sought permission from the heavens, if he looked upward for approval, Mara would win. Because Mara thrives whenever awakening depends on external validation. Siddhartha did not look to the sky. He did not summon deities. He did not argue. He reached down and touched the earth. The earth remembers. His fingers pressed into the soil, simple, unadorned, and the earth answered. It trembled, not in destruction, but in recognition. The ground bore witness to lifetimes of compassion, effort, discipline, and intention. Rivers remembered. Mountains remembered. The soil remembered. No authority beyond reality itself was needed. The earth itself testified. Mara staggered, for obstruction cannot stand where direct knowledge exists. Doubt cannot survive contact with clarity. Mara did not explode. He did not burn. He simply faded, like mist dissolving into morning light. The secret truth of Mara. There is a deeper myth. Mara was never destroyed. He cannot be destroyed because he is not an enemy. He is simply a threshold. He arises when consciousness approaches breakthrough. When someone tries to end addiction, Mara appears. When someone leaves a false life, Mara appears. When someone chooses truth over comfort, Mara appears. First with warmth, then with fear, then finally with the whisper. Who do you think you are? He is obstruction. He is not punishment. He is simply there to test. For awakening that can't withstand comfort, fear, and doubt is not awakening at all. Mara in every age. In ancient forests, he used daughters and storms. In modern cities, he uses distractions. Endless noise, endless scrolling, endless comparison. Comfort as sedation. identity as armor. He does not need armies. He has convenience. He possesses control of algorithms. He has doubt disguised as humility. And yet, the pattern never changes. Some will rise before dawn. Some will accept the whisper, but some will remain seated. Some will refuse comfort. Some will endure the fear. Some will meet doubt without asking permission. And when they do, Mara fades again. The dawn. As the first light touched the horizon, Siddhartha opened his eyes. Not as a prince anymore, not as an ascetic, but as Buddha, the truly awakened one. The Bodhi tree stood silent witness. The earth would hold the memory, and somewhere in the edge of perception, Mara watched. Not furious, not even broken, but patient, because he knows most beings will not endure the final whisper. Most will rise before sunrise. Most will choose comfort. But every so often, someone does not move. And on that night, obstruction almost ruled forever, but clarity held. And in that moment, the world itself changed. The trickster who slowed the sun. In the time before time was measured, before hours were named, before the days were counted, the sun raced across the sky. It rose too quickly, it fell too soon, and the people suffered for it. There was never enough daylight. Crops withered before they could grow. Clothes could not be finished. Fishing nets remained half woven. Children went hungry, not from lack of